and the reckless fear those who have nothing to lose. Lu Tao was genuinely scared. I don't want the money anymore. I won't cause you any trouble. Really? Heh, I'm not afraid of you fooling me. Let us just wait and see. The two got back into the car, and this time there were no obstacles. Zhang Chong safely took Lu Tao home and to his bed. Bro, what's wrong? Nothing. You don't need to worry. Lu Tao didn't tell his brother, but the hatred in his eyes could pierce through the dilapidated roof of the cave. This isn't over. Busy days always pass quickly. And in the blink of an eye, 12 days had gone by. The Eastern closed study had exceeded the time by 2 days, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Nova didn't interrupt his learning. It was indeed a fruitful 12 days, and the next steps were clear. Chips. To be precise, carbon-based chips. The speed of the shuttle was still impressive. On the way back to XA, Eastern deliberately pulled out his phone. This time, the official media around the world remained silent, with no reports on the situation at the S4 base. As for the flag-bearing nation, they believed that their spacecraft had been taken by extraterrestrial civilizations. That loss was nothing significant. Haha, the ghost operation was a great success. 2 bionic robots quietly stayed in a mansion located in the eastern region, not even changing their posture, until someone entered through the door. Welcome back, Master, they said in unison. Wait for me to pack a couple of clothes, and we'll head back to the company. The voice came from the dressing room. Yes, the phone rang. Boss, there's something I need to report to you after careful consideration. Zhang Chang's voice came from the receiver. Go ahead, the person continued packing. It was yesterday. Someone caused a disturbance at our company. Zhang Chang recounted the events leading to Lu Tao's incident in detail, including the part where he got into a fight. The listener paused, expressionless as he absorbed the information. Why didn't Gao Yuan tell me? I didn't inform him, only said the issue was resolved. He probably thought everything was fine and didn't report it to you. Why do it this way? I see this kid isn't easy to deal with. After giving him money once, he tasted the sweetness and will definitely come back for more. Again and again. Such people. I understand. You handled this well. I'll take care of it when I return. The listener's anger was rising. I worked so hard to create benefits for my hometown, and this kind of trouble arises. Is there no one to speak up? Is the park management just watching? Grabbing a few thick clothes, the listener got into a domestic off-road vehicle and headed towards a certain county in Yan'an City. Once on the highway, he could no longer tolerate the slow speed of the off-road vehicle and decided to take the shuttle instead, while the bionic robots drove the car behind. Finding a deserted area in the factory, the listener quickly walked back to the office building. Gao Yuan, do you know about the villagers blocking us? He pushed open the door and entered Gao Yuan's office. Director Dong, you're back. Yes, I know. Wasn't it already resolved? I thought it wasn't a big deal and planned to tell you in person when you returned. Have you sought help from the management committee? Of course, I called them, but they just said they'd report to the leaders and wait for processing. If you ask these people. The listener calmed down a bit. All right. You're starting to act like a manager, not impulsive, and handling the relationships well. Secretary Zhao Jinyu wasn't someone he could meet easily. Not to mention that the county officials were not as influential as the county management. You've handled this well this time. Take care of things here. I'll go to the county. In the office, Zhao Jinyu was on the phone, with the management committee director reporting on the environmental company's situation. What are you doing? Don't you know to do the ideological work with the public in advance? If a mass incident occurs and something unexpected happens. Secretary, it's not our fault. This is under the jurisdiction of the local town government. A large group of people entered the park, and you're saying it's not your responsibility? Zhao Jinyu slammed the phone down, unwilling to listen to these excuses. The town secretary was pacing anxiously like an ant on a hot pan, until he heard Zhao Jinyu say, "Come in. Secretary, it's our work that wasn't done properly. I'm here to admit my mistake." Upon hearing this, Zhao Jinyu's anger subsided somewhat, as at least he recognized his error instead of shifting the blame. So how do we resolve this? I've already talked to the brigade secretary from Huaqiu before coming here. Such group incidents will definitely not happen again. I assure you. It's this Lu Tao. P.S. a good for nothing. A knock on the door interrupted, and Zhao Jinyu felt a bit impatient. Go see who it is. Director Dong, you're here? Came the secretary's voice. Zhao Jinyu immediately got up to greet at the door. Fonger, you're here. I was just talking about you. Secretary Zhao, you flatter me. Haha. You're still angry? You deserve it. The work with the community has been done well, and with just this one good for nothing, there won't be any big trouble. Haha. That is good, you go? Dongfang has also gained some experience. Send some things over. As long as there are no more disturbances, it's good for the company. I've already arranged for Gao Yuan to handle it. Let us have lunch together this afternoon, and I'll treat you. But can Lu Tao accept that? Chapter 57. Integration of Industry and Education. Thanks to Xiao Qiao, Lu Shui, Rin Jia, and Al Go, even though he drank quite a bit with Secretary Zhao Jinyu yesterday, Dongfang still woke up early, feeling refreshed. Exercise couldn't be skipped. He wondered how Zhao Jinyu was doing, chuckling to himself. I wonder if he can get up. Since today isn't the weekend. Good morning, Director Dong. On his way to the company cafeteria, Many people greeted him. Unbeknownst to him, the number of employees had steadily increased, surpassing 500. Thus, the company opened a cafeteria to alleviate the awkward situation of having no restaurants in the remote area, allowing employees to work with peace of mind. The cafeteria offered a good breakfast with a variety of options at low prices, which was a major reason employees chose to eat there. Back in the office, Dongfang dealt with the pile of documents that had accumulated recently. The delivery numbers for mechanical dogs and drones were continually increasing, and in another month, all could be delivered on schedule. Meanwhile, income from games, smart assistants, operating systems, and various products like the Xiao Nuo speaker was flowing in steadily. After deducting employee salaries and bonuses, the company's account still had a solid 1.5 billion yuan. This amount seemed substantial, but it was still insufficient to build a complete chip production line. The production of graphene batteries had far exceeded military orders, and it was time to hold a press conference. The company's development needed more funds. With this in mind, Dongfang called Gao Yuan. Brother Yuan, let us have a meeting at 10 to understand the progress of each department and discuss the planning for the next phase. Recently, Gao Yuan had indeed made significant progress, so Dongfang's attitude softened. After all, they were childhood friends, and he was someone trustworthy. This was Dongfang's first time in the conference room of the building, and the heads of each department had already taken their seats. We are all on the same team, so let's skip the formalities. Let's start from the administration and have each department share their progress. Zhang Chong spoke first, as Dongfang had reinstated him. He is reliable now. Wang Chun from the laboratory, unable to avoid it any longer, was the last to speak up. Dongfang's initial judgment was correct. The development of silicon transistors has reached its physical limits. So he hopes for breakthroughs in carbon-based technology, especially with the experience gained from graphene batteries. Boss, our progress is a bit slow, Wang Chun said somewhat apologetically. That's all right. Go ahead and tell us how far we've come, replied Dongfang. Graphene chips, also known as carbon-based chips, are large-scale integrated circuits just like silicon-based ones. It's clear that carbon, or graphite, cannot be used to fabricate transistors, so we've shifted our focus back to graphene. Of course, there are plenty of reports on this topic online. We're not afraid of wasting resources. We've rolled out graphene tubes at the 5-nanometer level. However, we are still lagging far behind in photolithography and etching compared to other countries. Just the first step in transistor technology, using electron beams to carve out channels, has left us at a standstill. So, in my view, carbon-based chips are still a distant dream. Zhang Hao couldn't sit still any longer. Boss, it's not just about production. We don't even have our own chip software. We're severely restricted by foreign entities and can't even design anything, let alone manufacture. Our tech department has basically completed the customization tasks for various companies, leaving a team for later maintenance and upgrades. The rest of us should focus on EDA technology for now, he suggested. That's exactly the kind of scene Dongfang wanted to see, with everyone openly discussing and sharing their opinions, sparking wisdom. He smiled and nodded. Wang Chun, you've done well. You've achieved some results. Haozi, you're right. The research and manufacturing of chips must go hand in hand with design and production. We need to walk on two legs. Losing one will hinder us. Haven't we faced enough bottlenecks in our country already? Let's prioritize software development and establish a project. Zhang Hao, you take charge. And Zhu Jiangwo can assist you since he has nothing else to do. Wang Chun, I will follow up with you on your side. Zhang Chong, execute according to the plan we just discussed and continue to expand the factory size. It would be best to acquire the surrounding vacant land. HR department, maintain close contact with headhunting firms. It's time to bring in some experienced talent. After all, we can retain people now. By the way, I see that the residential area has been completed, so let's allocate the welfare housing. Individuals should contribute 30. The conference room erupted with enthusiastic cheers. They had been looking forward to this day. Once the excitement settled, Dongfang concluded, everyone, go back to your tasks. If you have any issues, feel free to reach out to me or General Gao. Meeting adjourned. News spread quickly. The decision to allocate housing was already making waves. Every face was lit up with uncontainable smiles. Amidst the joyful atmosphere, Wang Chun and Dongfang exited the office building. Boss, it's not that we're not working hard. It's just that I understand, no need to say more. On the way to the lab, the two engaged in an in-depth discussion about how to tackle the current problem. There are indeed difficulties. After all, while Dongfang possesses rich theoretical knowledge, it doesn't necessarily mean he has strong practical skills. Under the current conditions in the lab, he can't manually prepare graphene transistors. What if we have Nova send over the photolithography equipment? No, Dongfang dismissed this idea himself. The technology of the local planet far exceeds that of the blue planet. Using their equipment directly might work once or twice, but over time, it's not feasible. The local company would only become a laborer without any creativity. To fully surpass the technology of the local planet, that's just a pipe dream. We still have to rely on ourselves. Wang Chun said helplessly, if only my teacher could come to our company. He is a leading figure in the field of graphene in our country. Upon hearing this, Dongfang was taken aback. How could he have forgotten about this? Combining production, education, and research. Yes, there are so many outstanding professors in well-known universities in our country. They struggle due to a lack of equipment and funding. With just a small amount of project funding, they are still striving to produce results. If I could provide them with sufficient funding and advanced equipment that is banned in other places, I believe they would soon make breakthrough progress. At the same time, it would also promote the overall enhancement of the country's fundamental sciences. Dongfang's eyes lit up as the two of them unknowingly walked into the lab. Do you still have your professor's phone number? Of course, boss. Once a teacher, always a father. All right, see if he is willing to meet with me. If he is, please schedule a time for us to meet. Wang Qin glanced at his phone. It was just noon. My teacher must have just finished class. He doesn't like to run over time. He found the number and pressed the dial button. Chapter 58. Fire. Thanks to Jia, who loves Hakka Mouse Rice. Woody 7521. For turning away, things went surprisingly smoothly. Professor Zhong agreed immediately upon hearing that a big boss wanted to pursue the path of production, education, and research. The funding is indeed insufficient. No matter what project it is, the school always calculates the budget repeatedly. Even if the project funding is approved, it's very likely that all the funds will be exhausted before any results are produced, leaving them to hastily conclude the project. It's hard to encounter someone like this, and they can't let the opportunity slip away. People might say, how could such a prestigious university professor encounter such a situation? But the reality is just that. In today's society, there are too few people engaged in industry. It's challenging. Industrial ventures require significant capital investment, have low profits, and companies have weak risk tolerance. There's even a possibility that a large amount of investment in developing a new technology could go to waste if downstream manufacturers can't provide new materials. The funds invested by the company could just disappear without a trace. Some might argue that they can produce it themselves. However, building a complete industrial chain requires a daunting amount of capital. Just think about it. The meeting is scheduled for the weekend at Jinghua University, in Professor Zhong's office. The boss has already made plans for this weekend, Wang Chun said excitedly. The professor agreed very readily, and he felt quite proud. All right, you can come with me then. Dongfang nodded and put on a dust suit as he entered the laboratory. Although he knew he might not succeed, he still wanted to give it a try to see if he could prepare transistors manually. Wang Chun and the others had a simple approach, but it seemed effective. They integrated 2 layers of graphene together and found a strange property upon testing. The energy distribution of graphene was not the traditional parabolic shape, but rather resembled a peaked hat with a high center. Moreover, the electron density near the brim was almost infinite. If a very small voltage was applied, a large number of electrons would start moving simultaneously, causing a drastic change in current on the other side of the energy barrier. However, challenges arose. Graphene is a conductor, and its extremely high conductivity is both an advantage and a disadvantage. Unlike silicon, which is a semiconductor and can be etched to create transistors, note 1 placed in the book review, forming large-scale integrated circuits and thus producing chips. The on-off state of graphene circuits cannot be controlled, making large-scale integration impossible. Theoretically, Dongfang could utilize the porous structure of graphene to create energy gaps, and the chips obtained from the S4 base also confirmed the correctness of this theory. But how to achieve it? In 2 days, Dongfang tried many methods, but the results were not ideal. Forget it. Let us leave it at that for now. A press conference for the graphene battery was to be held today, and Wang Chun had just reminded him again. Although Dongfang had never been on stage, Gao Yuan had said that without the boss present, he still felt a bit nervous. Can't I just show off a little? Dongfang was well aware of Gao Yuan's little thoughts. This press conference was held in the company's own building. Considering that they would be announcing a lot of products, many of which were physical items that needed to be showcased on site. Therefore, they had set up the venue on the top floor of the building. Perhaps due to having hosted multiple times or being on his own turf, Gao Yuan appeared more natural and composed. Good afternoon, dear friends and family. Our company is holding yet another product launch. Are you all looking forward to it? I digress. Today's press conference features only one product, or rather, a type of product, the graphene battery. You heard it right, the one mentioned in the news reports. We have a rich variety of batteries, power banks, rechargeable batteries, and even battery packs for cars. Charge for 8 minutes and run for 1,000 miles. Every time the company holds a press conference, the live broadcast room is always bustling. What kind of company is this? Instead of focusing on software, they're inventing batteries? I've taken my pants off, and you want me to watch batteries? So mysterious, just for this. If the product isn't impressive, for future launch events, I'll just stand and watch. The impressive one's upstairs. I haven't gotten up yet. I still believe in the company. Thinking about how fast it charges makes me feel thrilled. I just wonder if there's a model for the massager. As usual, someone from the East is peeking backstage. These people are all talented. Life goes on, and driving never stops. 2 hours earlier, Lu Tao was wandering around the company. He noticed many cars near the company in the morning, seemingly for some event. Importantly, the management at the entrance wasn't as strict anymore. Lu Tao knew that due to the blocked entrance, the guard wouldn't let him in. What to do? A car with a license plate from Xi'an City stopped next to him, and the driver rolled down the window. Hey, sir, can I ask you something? Is that the company up ahead? Yes, it is. Lu Tao thought quickly. Could you give me a ride? I work at the factory, and I'm a bit late for my shift. Is that okay? Just point us in the right direction. Lu Tao felt a surge of joy, and without hesitation, he opened the car door and jumped in. Following the road, he asked, do you see that wall? It's right there. The vehicle smoothly entered the gate. As there were so many cars today that the guard was a bit overwhelmed. Thanks. You see that big building ahead? I'll get off at the factory right here. The car headed straight for the building. What would Lu Tao do next? He sneaked into the greenery by the roadside and waited until night. Finally, at 10 p.m., he was nearly bursting. There were people coming and going, and he almost wet his pants. After resolving his physiological needs, he rushed to the workshop. He intended to set a fire. After all, this was the best plan he could think of. He didn't know of any other way. Due to the successful launch event, the company held a reception dinner and everyone was enjoying their drinks. Gao Yuan felt quite pleased. He had just hosted a successful launch again and was becoming more adept at controlling the rhythm of the event. Most importantly, he was surrounded by procurement managers from domestic companies like BAT, Geely, and major mobile phone manufacturers, all inquiring about the production and pricing of graphene batteries. This was a groundbreaking product that could change the industry landscape and even determine a company's future. However, some people don't enjoy socializing, like this comrade Zhu Jianjun, who was dressed casually and standing by the window sipping champagne. Suddenly, he saw flames shooting out from the direction of the workshop. It's on fire. He panicked and shouted without thinking. Gao Yuan immediately put down his glass and ran to the window, hoping nothing serious had happened. But it was a bit strange. The flames flickered for a moment and then extinguished. Looking outside again, it was pitch black. What's going on? Chapter 59. Steady. Thanks to Xian E Accessories. User 760503131. Lin Yuan, who loves boiled shrimp. In the guard room of the company, beneath the eastern sky, two bionic robots gently pressed down on a person. The person struggled desperately, the veins on his neck bulging. Unfortunately, he could only move above his neck. The part below his hair was immobile. The strength of the robot was like a mountain, pinning him down. He couldn't move. Let me go? What did I do? This is illegal. I'm going to call the police. He shouted hoarsely, tilting his head back. It was a familiar face, the rogue Lu Tao. Perhaps since the day he entered, he couldn't understand what monitored his every move. This started from the time when two foreigners attempted to steal something during his early startup days. After that incident, the company placed special emphasis on security. And when the new factory was just built, a comprehensive upgrade of security measures was carried out. Perhaps the flower you just saw was a camera. The mosquito-repellent light in the green belt was a camera, and even the bird perched on the tree might be a bionic robot. Coupled with Nova hidden in the server backend, it had already formed a vast web covering the entire company. When Lu Tao sneaked into the green belt, the intelligence system had already detected him because there was a flower next to him. Still stubborn? Don't worry, just watch. Dongfeng pushed a monitor in front of Lu Tao. The video was playing at an accelerated speed from the moment he got out of the car to collecting scraps to make a torch, and finally to climbing into the workshop to ignite it. If it weren't for Dongfeng needing to collect evidence, he probably would have struggled even to light a pile of firewood, let alone the flames that Zhu Jiangwo later saw. Wait, the police are coming soon. You can enjoy a few years of public service for free. Lu Tao was genuinely scared this time. Malicious arson had already reached the level of a criminal offense. Boss, I know I was wrong. Please, my brother is still young, and our parents passed away early. I beg you, let me go? I swear there won't be a next time. While saying this, he slapped his own face hard. He really didn't want to end up in public service. Dongfeng remained silent and turned to leave the guard room. He had nothing to say to such a rogue. He was not even worthy of it. Lu Tao's case was handled quickly. Indeed, in such a situation with solid evidence, the rules were clearly written, and it was just a matter of following the judgment without needing to think. Lu Tao would have to stay inside for 5 years. At 10 o'clock a.m. on the weekend, at the newly opened airport in the capital, Dongfeng, Wang Chun, and two bionic robots flagged down a taxi and headed towards Jinghua University. Due to a sudden heavy rain in Yan'an City, the flight was delayed by an hour upon landing. Given the originally agreed time, it seemed they would not make it. Dongfeng felt a bit anxious. Being late on their first meeting was not ideal. Driver, please hurry. We're in a rush. Young man, the capital is so big and your destination is far. I'm not driving slowly. After all, we must obey traffic rules, right? Just sit tight. It was also true that being anxious wouldn't help if he were alone. Driver, how long do you think it will take us to get there? At most an hour and a half. If there's no traffic, we can make it in an hour. Then please try to go faster. We have an appointment. We're really in a hurry. After saying that, he took out 200 yuan from his pocket. He slapped it on the center console. Sai, please take care. The allure of money, haha. The taxi indeed sped up, weaving through the traffic like a fish. In less than an hour, it stopped at the entrance of Jinghua University. Professor Zhong Guodong just turned 50 this year. A newly appointed academician of the National Academy of Sciences and a leading figure in graphene research at Jinghua University, a fictional character, please do not associate with real individuals. He pioneered the research on controlled preparation of nanocarbon materials in our country, overcoming the challenges of structural control and efficient growth of carbon nanotubes. Truly a pillar of the nation. Early this morning, he arrived at the office well ahead of time. Although the meeting was scheduled for 11:30, he thought he could at least look over some literature since he couldn't go to the lab. Successful individuals are invariably extremely focused, and they can invest boundless energy in their fields of interest. Of course, their efforts far exceed those of ordinary people. Professor Zhong was completely engrossed. Until a knock on the door interrupted him, he was a bit annoyed. Who was bothering him at this time? He completely forgot about the meeting. Teacher, are you doing well lately? Sorry to interrupt your reading. Oh, Wang Chun, you rascal, come in. Why are you bringing something with you? Professor Zhong really liked Wang Chun, considering him very perceptive, and he was also a top student in the class. He had some objections when Wang Chun decided not to pursue further studies and go straight to work. However, upon hearing about their achievements in graphene batteries, those objections had long since faded away. Teacher, you must have been waiting anxiously. Wang Chun entered, put down the nutritional supplements in his hand, and gestured towards a young man. This is Mr. Dongfang, whom I introduced to you over the phone. Hello, Dongfang. I didn't expect you to be so young. You are already a big boss. No wonder you can achieve results. You are truly a scholar without any ulterior motives, saying whatever comes to mind, which is their characteristic. Dongfang stepped forward, extending his hands, and shook firmly with a middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses and dressed plainly. This was a historic handshake. Hello, Professor Zhong. I've only seen you in reports. I didn't expect to meet you in person today. I'm your loyal fan. Friend, you're such a flatterer. Dongfang, humph. As if you aren't. Haha. So what? Isn't it just a mouth and two eyes? But I should be more handsome than on TV. They say I don't look like myself. Humorous, witty, and knowledgeable. That is the demeanor of a true educator. In just a few short sentences, Dongfang completely abandoned his previous preparations. For such a scholar, any attempts at temptation were best left alone. Professor Zhong, Wang Chun should have explained our purpose to you over the phone. So I won't beat around the bush. I'd like to hear your opinion directly. Good, it should be this way. I have a question. Please go ahead. You provide the project funding, right? If results are achieved, who should the intellectual property rights belong to? You can rest assured that all project funding will be provided by our company. As for the results, how does a 37-63 split sound? Our side will hold a 30 stake, while the remainder will belong to the other party, with both sides having the right of first refusal on each other's stakes. The naming rights will be independently held by your side. In other words, if we want to bring it to market, you only need to share 30 of the profits. Am I understanding this correctly? That's right. But I would like to clarify one point in advance. We are a business and have many employees to support, so the confirmation of the project is crucial. Professor Zhong adjusted his glasses and asked, can students intern at your company? This is something highly sought after in the East. Is there such a good opportunity? Free talented students. I want it all. Of course, controlling his excitement, Dongfang replied expressionlessly. Moreover, as long as the project yields results, we will definitely buy back, so you don't need to worry about not having returns. Dongfang addressed the key point that Professor Zhong wanted to ask, but felt too shy to bring up. With more funding, the school can better cultivate talent for the country. All right, I agree. You can draft the letter of intent, and I'll report it to the school. A solid plan. Chapter 60. The Call of the Counselor. Thanks to QNYZ 1997, Super Beast God, and those who love you. The purpose of the trip to the capital was successfully achieved. They strolled around the revered square and enjoyed the famous roast duck. Except for Wang Chun, who complained of fatigue, Dongfang and the two bionic robots remained expressionless throughout. However, Dongfang left with a favorable impression of the capital. It's big, really big. The impression of the capital, delicious, truly delicious. The impression of the roast duck. After the tour, they brought home 20 roast ducks. Boss, how about your two bodyguards? Aren't they going to eat? The flight attendant brought the in-flight meal. Well, they have small appetites, right? Just small appetites. Why does Wang Chun have so many questions? Food can't stop your mouth. Boss, I have some seniors who are about to graduate with their master's degrees, and they want to come to our company. What do you think? Are they from your school? How are their usual grades? Yes, but their research directions are different. They are all top students. We can't say anything bad about them. Let them come for an interview. By the way, my teacher is almost done, but what about our EDA? Should I contact my classmates? Some are working as technicians in foreign companies. That's a good idea. You contact them and say we're hiring at high salaries to see if they're willing to return to work in the country. Definitely no problem. Except for a few individuals who prefer to stay abroad, who would want to remain overseas forever. With no further topics. They arrived punctually at Yan'an Airport and drove back to the company. Currently, in the global market, 90% of the EDA industry is dominated by 4 companies from the flag-bearing nation: Synopsys, Cadence, Minter, and Ansys. Meanwhile, domestic companies only hold a mere 1% market share. The gap is not something that can be easily described. The difference is indeed too vast. Chen Zhen, Wang Chen Sr., works at Minter in the flag-bearing nation. His outstanding talent allowed him to quickly carve out a niche for himself within the company. Due to racial discrimination, he, like all individuals of Asian descent, faced an invisible ceiling, seeing no hope for promotion beyond being an outstanding technician. He was ready to resign and return home to carve out his own path. It was 11:00 p.m. in the capital city. After a long day, Chen Zhen was about to go to bed. A video notification popped up at this late hour. Aside from friends and family back home, no one would contact him. He unplugged his flower-patterned phone from the charger. Wang Chen, senior brother, sorry to disturb you so late. Wang Chen was sitting in a bright office where it was 9 a.m. You rascal, calling me in the middle of the night. If your reason isn't good enough, just wait until I get back. Please don't, senior brother. I'm working, you know. How would I know? Do you think I'm a fortune teller? Chen Zhen replied, somewhat annoyed. In fact, he had seen this guy showing off his achievements on social media, but he pretended not to know. Haha. Don't get too worked up. Are you interested in joining our company to work on software? The company that does intelligent assistants. Oh, so that's what it's about. I'm quite familiar with intelligent assistants, he thought, remembering the panda animation still bouncing on his phone. What's the deal? My boss wants to bring in talent for EDA. And I thought your expertise fits perfectly. Interested? High salary and benefits. Definitely more than what you're earning now, plus housing. Your issue with your girlfriend? Perfectly solved. Chen Zhen felt tempted. His girlfriend was back home and claimed she couldn't get used to the local fast food and refused to come. There's work here too. He softened his tone, thinking about being with his girlfriend while earning a good salary. A win-win situation. Don't worry, your sister-in-law is in a related field. Our company needs her too. Wang Chen reassured him. I need to go back and check things out first. Quitting and handing over my work here will take some time anyway. All right, wait for your news. When you're back, I'll treat you to a big meal at the company cafeteria. Wang Chen hung up. As soon as he arrived at the office today, he switched to phone mode, contacting everyone he could and waiting for results. Another dull and tedious morning. Dongfang leaned over his desk and swiftly signed a stack of documents. Just then, the phone rang. It was his advisor, Zhangmin Dongfang. You big boss, you've been quite busy lately, huh? Teacher, you're the one who's busy. Nurturing the flowers for our country. Don't talk nonsense. The new semester has started. Are you slacking off? Dongfang glanced at the bottom right corner of his computer. September 3rd, 2021. Oh dear, I've been so busy lately that I forgot. I'll head back to school this afternoon. All right, come to my office when you return to school. He returned to school with 2 big guys. Heading straight to the advisor's office without even going to the dorm. Zhang Min was busy checking her face in a small mirror, her body twisting as she moved. With all the preparations for the new semester, she seemed a bit frazzled. As soon as she looked up, she saw Dongfang standing in front of her desk. Oh dear, are you trying to scare me? Why didn't you knock when you came in? The voice rose to a soprano pitch. Dongfang pointed to her ears. Why are you pointing at your ears? I'm not deaf. Helpless, Dongfang had to take off the Bluetooth headphones she was wearing. Intense rock music burst from the headphones. It was just singing about 25,000 miles. Well, at least it's a good tune. I knocked, but you didn't hear me. I saw you were here. So I came in. Zhang Min felt a bit embarrassed. Can't you be a bit louder? What did you want from me, teacher? Dongfang skillfully changed the topic. What's wrong? Can't the big boss call you if there's nothing going on? Actually, she did have something to discuss. The collaboration between Dongfang and Tsinghua University had spread among various institutions. The president of Jiaodong University and Professor Zhong were classmates when they met a few days ago. Professor Zhong boasted for quite a while. The president was quite envious, and after some inquiries, oh, Dongfang, a person from Shaanxi, and upon further checking, wow, a student from Jiaodong University. You're a student from Jiaodong University. Why aren't you thinking about your alma mater and running off to the capital? Aren't we fellow townsmen? Don't we have a bond? The president, afraid of getting the wrong person, called in the instructor Zhang Min to ask, and sure enough, it was this kid, the CEO of a company in the environmental field, no one else. So this matter was handed over to Dongfang's instructor, Comrade Zhang Min. Are you collaborating with Tsinghua University? Does the school have any plans? As soon as she started, Dongfang guessed the outcome. Zhang Min became even more embarrassed. Don't be shy. What is there to be shy about between us? What are the school's regulations? Don't try to get close to me. We're not that familiar. The first time is like a stranger, the second time is familiar, and this is the third time. It's turned upside down again, getting back on track. Zhang Min's face flushed. Dongfang, is it okay to joke like this with a teacher? Annoyed and embarrassed. Teacher, I can offer the same conditions as Jinghua University for our school. Zhang Min was instantly attracted by Dongfang's proposal. Originally, the task given to her by the school was just to make initial contact, to see if there was a possibility for collaboration. She never expected to get the same treatment as a top-tier university in the country. But I hope this doesn't require me to give something in return? Zhang Min immediately crossed her arms over her chest. Does Dongfang prefer older ones? Dongfang looked at the instructor in confusion, wondering what she was doing. Teacher, is the school not in agreement? Zhang Min looked into Dongfang's clear, innocent eyes, and her face turned even redder. Oh no, where did my mind go? No, that's impossible. I'll report to my superiors. You should go back first. After saying this, she ran out of her office without looking back, leaving Dongfang completely bewildered. What's up with the teacher today? Forget it. I'll go back to the dorm and check on those 3 animals. In a familiar scene. Although it had been a long time, the 3 of them hadn't changed at all. Fang you rascal. I thought you wouldn't come back after school started. Wang Ming patted Dongfang's shoulder warmly. Fang I've missed you so much. Zhang Wei is in good shape, with a stable income that has eased his worries. And his face has become rounder. He immediately walked up to Dongfang and reached out to give him a hug. A big hand pressed down on his head, pushing him aside. Go away. Yang Zhao's furry face leaned in. Hey, let's play a couple of rounds. I just dropped some diamonds. Hurry and take me to 2 stars. Dongfang was touched by this simple camaraderie and nodded with a smile. All right. Laughter filled the entire dormitory, with shouts of 666 and silly. In the president's office at the university, the room was filled with department leaders, and only Zhang Min, a young teacher who had never attended such a meeting before, was feeling a bit restless. Teacher Zhang Min, why don't you introduce the situation to everyone? Fortunately, the president interrupted her thoughts. Okay, President. Zhang Min stood up from her chair and detailed Dongfang's situation, including his academic performance, personality, and some information released by the environmental company, as well as the crucial aspect of industry-university research collaboration. Now, let me talk about the industry-university research part. The president took over and explained the conditions Dongfang had proposed to the university. Let's discuss and see if anyone has any opinions. The department leaders were excited. Who would refuse such a good opportunity? So, no one raised any objections, except for the director of the Academic Affairs Office. This Dongfang needs to be managed well. He doesn't focus on his studies. But everyone was reassured as the director said, I'll follow up on this matter to ensure he adheres to school discipline. The director, with a large belly due to his weight, was sweating profusely and was wiping his forehead with a tissue while speaking. Director Yang, you promised last semester. And Dongfang's professors also recognized him, as long as his exam results. Zhang Min was a bit anxious. What kind of student doesn't attend classes? Someone chimed in. Yang Jian's remarks found some support, as many teachers believed students should focus on their studies. What's wrong? Is he falling behind in his studies? Is he causing you trouble? Dongfang's physics teacher, the head of the electrical engineering department, couldn't hold back. What you said has nothing to do with us. He's still a student, and we're doing this for his benefit. The department head's position was different from Zhang Min's, so Yang Jian quickly explained. You should manage your own department. Dongfang's grades are perfect. Whether he attends class or not makes no difference. I believe some teachers are far worse than him. He shot Yang Jian a glare. Yang Jian got angry. Who are you calling worse? That's personal attack. He is most afraid of others talking about his academic performance. I didn't name names. Did I mention you? Don't jump to conclusions. All right, you two stop arguing. The principal can't stand it anymore. Let me share my opinion. As students, academics should be a priority. Look, even the principal agrees. The principal shot a stern glance at Yang Jian and continued. However, in special cases, we must treat them specially. We can't equate a genius with ordinary students. My suggestion is to hold a defense meeting. If he passes, he can graduate early. After graduation, he could apply to our graduate program. That old fox. I agree with the department head and Zhang Min's initial stance. This can't be done, principal. Our school has no precedent for this. Besides, how could a freshman like Yang Jian agree? Does anyone have any objections? After all, the funding for the project is a crucial point. This is a blatant temptation. It should be treated specially, but if he fails the defense, then, ultimately, the meeting unanimously approved the collaboration between industry and academia and agreed to hold the defense meeting. When Dongfang received this news, he was stunned. Is the school really going this far? And there's such a good opportunity? What was the defense topic again? Design of an automatic radius measurement device. Note 1. Is it that simple? The intense gaming session ended. Dongfang opened his notebook. ISNT adjust that with the known chord length and Sajida. We need to find the radius of the circle? Can this question stump a middle school student? Let the radius be r, h2, chord length 2r. Solve for the unknown r to get the radius. College graduation projects don't require a physical model, but design drawings and papers are exceptions. So, Dongfang proceeded to design the control circuit and write a small program. He took out the PCB, Note 2, to build the circuit and wrote code for the 89C51, Note 3 chip, simulating the input of the Sagitta. The digital display, Note 4, immediately showed the result. The physical part was done, and Dongfang completed the writing of the paper in just half an hour. A total of 45 minutes spent. Teacher, the graduation project is done. Should we hold the defense meeting tomorrow? Zhang Min was speechless. Note the knowledge point below, Chapter 62, Breakthrough. Thanks to Mengming's mom 0718, Phantom F, the defense certainly couldn't be held the next day, as Dongfang suggested. However, he didn't have to wait long. The principal, being such a cunning fox, would naturally ensure everything was in order. Just as Dongfang passed the driving school's fourth subject and received his driver's license, he got a call from his instructor, Zhang Min. Dongfang. Are you sure you're ready? Teacher, when have we ever deceived you? Just tell me. Zhang Min gritted her teeth and said, all right, this afternoon in the lecture hall. The school has decided to hold a special thesis defense for you. Don't be late. Got it. At 3:00 p.m., Dongfang specially wore a suit. Doesn't this show respect? Haha. As soon as he entered the lecture hall, Dongfang was stunned by the sight before him. Wow. There were at least 50 teachers in the lecture hall. No wonder it had to be held there. Even the professors without classes came. Dongfang quietly gave the principal, who was sitting in the middle, the finger. However, having experienced big occasions, he was not intimidated. Without waiting for the teacher to call him, he walked up to the podium. He opened his laptop and set down the already tuned PCB board, elaborating on his design philosophy. The professors in the audience listened attentively, carefully considering every word. Yang Jian was one of them. He hadn't given up yet. Finally, when Dongfang finished his report, he was the first to jump up. What is the precision of the measuring instrument? Theoretically, it can reach 1/10,000th of a millimeter, which is at the micrometer level. Of course, that depends on the hardware. Yang Jian had done his homework in advance and raised different questions regarding the product's production cost and feasibility. Unfortunately, Dongfang was not easily stumped by his inquiries. It was true that this instrument didn't have much technical complexity. Practically any university student after 4 years of study could make it. Seeing this situation, the other professors had nothing more to ask, and what seemed to be a grand defense meeting wrapped up hastily. The principal, a cunning old fox, wore a somewhat smug expression, thinking, this truly reflects my wise decision. He smiled as he approached Dongfang. Student Dongfang, are you interested in coming to our school for a master's or doctoral program? Guaranteed. I don't have that intention at the moment. I have a lot of company matters to attend to, so I'm quite busy. With nothing more to discuss, the principal retreated. A week later, Dongfang received his graduation and degree certificates sent by his advisor. He glanced at them and tossed them into his desk. These things were just stepping stones. They held little significance for him. He then lowered his head, immersing himself in the project proposal sent by Professor Zheng that morning, discussing the feasibility of graphene transistors and how to create three-dimensional nanoporous graphene electric double-layer transistors. Is there potential? Indeed, as expected of a top professor. A solution was found so quickly. Funding was approved, with 50 million allocated. As expected, time flies when one is focused on work. 2 hours had passed unknowingly. He quickly stood up and headed towards the technical department. Boss, you finally made it. We've been waiting so long we could wither. Zhang Hao chimed in. Get lost. Dongfang replied coldly. This person brightened up with just a little attention. Shenzhen, you have the most work experience among us. Why don't you talk about the challenges? After inspecting the company, Shenzhen immediately gave up his job in another country and returned to serve the company, bringing along 78 others. With the addition of these people, the talent pool of the company rose several levels. He was now the head of EDA development. Dong, the current mainstream EDA tools offer many integrated circuit IP cores, significantly shortening the design cycle of integrated circuits and enhancing design stability. These barriers cannot be bypassed. We must first sign an agreement with the patent holder. Secondly, a complete product line does not need further explanation. Thirdly, the EDA application training and related materials for electronic design engineers are all sourced from abroad, as they are more familiar with foreign software. Therefore, we inherently have a disadvantage. Shenzhen's thoughts are not wrong, but he is considering it from the perspective of software vendors. And what about the company? They are developing for themselves, so they don't need to worry about usage habits, mature modules, and other factors that may restrict other companies. I thought it was a tough problem. You don't need to consider the rest. I will provide the IP cores. Just focus on your work. Shenzhen said nothing. What other opinions could he have? The boss has already said to proceed. In software design, with the D language from the company, it's not an issue at all. With the module library provided by Dongfang, Shenzhen's progress accelerated. The task force was divided into 4 groups, 1 for CAD, 2 for CEM, 3 for CAT, and 4 for CAE, with the intelligent assistant as the main core controlling the 4 major modules. The fully automated chip design software from the company was completed. Dongfeng tested the newly developed software, which is truly fully automated. As long as the software architecture is determined, it will provide dozens of options as reference. Experienced designers can freely combine more than 10 design schemes. Perfect. Rewards. There must be rewards, starting from 50,000, which made Dongfeng very happy. Chun Jun received 100,000, while other team members started from 50,000. Everyone in the company was excited and began to work overtime just to earn bonuses. Dongfeng. We can proceed to the next step of cooperation. After Chun Jun's software development was successful, Professor Zhong also brought good news. The three-dimensional nanoporous graphene electric double-layer transistor is feasible, and its capacitance can reach up to 1,000 times that of two-dimensional graphene transistors. Moreover, the preparation method is very simple, just stack layers. This is a strong point of the company's spraying technology. It can now enter the actual production phase. Dongfeng can start developing lithography machines. This is the final step to breaking the chip barriers. For Dongfeng, this is not a problem at all. The principle of lithography is simply to etch circuits on silicon wafers using light. But a circuit template must be placed on top to allow light to shine on predetermined locations. Let us get started. In the early stages, all materials for developing graphene transistors were fully prepared. He even bought a domestically produced lithography machine, but it could only reach a 25 nanometer level. Wang Chun and the others were completely immersed in their own world, validating Professor Zhong's results. Dongfeng did not disturb them and went up to the fourth floor alone, where his assistants were replaced by two bionic robotic arms. They were more stable and stronger. Dongfeng replaced the UV light source in the lithography machine. This is the best light source for 310 nanometer level chips. He adjusted the light path and changed the lens. Even with the help of the robots, Dongfeng still spent 89 hours. The intelligent assistant faithfully recorded the process for future use when producing lithography machines. At 2:00 a.m., Dongfeng placed the graphene wafer onto the fixture of the lithography machine and pressed the start button. In Chapter 63, the world's first, thanks to QNYZ 1997, who loves a lay colostrum. If we could see it, we would notice that the graphene wafer was continuously coated, exposed, coated again, and exposed once more inside the lithography machine. In less than a minute, the world's first 12-inch carbon-based wafer was ejected from the machine. Dongfeng, wearing silicone gloves, took it out and observed it under the electron microscope. Perfect. The process achieved a 7-nanometer chip neatly arranged on the wafer. This 12-inch wafer could be cut into approximately 640 chips, all radiating a unique brilliance. Dongfeng was a bit excited. This was the world's first carbon-based wafer he had personally created. The bionic robot placed the wafer back into the chip cutter, and square chips were ejected one by one. They were placed into a large storage box, divided into small compartments to ensure the independent preservation of each chip. After individual testing, the yield rate exceeded Dongfeng's expectations, reaching an astonishing 90, meaning that 576 chips were ready for immediate use. And the cost? It was less than 1/10 of that of silicon-based chips. This meant that a chip originally costing $2,228 could now be produced for just $2, or 16 renminbi. Because carbon-based chips only required graphite. After taking out a chip and packaging it in a ceramic shell, Dongfeng pulled out several brand new mobile phones. The bionic robot disassembled the phone without hesitation, removed the Kirin chip, and installed the carbon-based chip that Dongfeng named Swift, the fastest bird. The phone quickly regained its original appearance, identical to before, except for its core. After reinstalling the operating system, Dongfeng pressed the power button. The startup experience was completely different from that of a new phone, with an incredibly fast response speed. In just 5 seconds, the phone entered the first-time setup wizard. Dongfeng then tested various software and large mobile games on it. It was lightning fast, with all effects on and the highest resolution. It still managed to maintain a smooth performance without any frame drops or overheating. Current software could not even test its peak performance. Dongfeng nodded in satisfaction. After 2 months, the chip was finally completed. Looking up, he noticed that it was already bright outside. He took off his dust-proof suit and turned to walk downstairs. Boss, so early? He ran into Wang Chun, who had just come out of the lounge, looking disheveled and yawning. Have you eaten? Come with me to the cafeteria. Dongfeng was in a good mood today, so he extended the invitation. Not yet. We made a few wafers yesterday, and we're going to check them out first. Indeed, one was already taken by Dongfeng. They walked on. Without waiting for Wang Chun to speak, Dongfeng walked ahead. Boss, Teacher Zhong is amazing. Results came so quickly. Wang Chun ran a few steps to catch up. No problem at all. With our plasma thermal spraying technology, production will be quite easy. Yes, I know. I already tried it last night, and the quality is good. By the way, don't go up to the 4th floor for now. I've sealed it off. No way. Are we getting our own chips? The two of them chatted as they walked into the company's cafeteria. Dongfang returned to his office and dialed the phone number of Mr. Chun from the flour company. Why are you looking for this old man, Dongfang? Mr. Chin's non-standard Mandarin with a southern accent came through the receiver. Although the company was under sanctions, leading to a chip supply shortage and putting his company in a difficult situation, the old man remained optimistic and was striving to break through the encirclement. Mr. Chun, I have some good news to tell you. Chips? What do you mean? Don't keep me in suspense. Just say it all at once. Mr. Chun was a bit agitated. This was his lifeline. Our company has developed a new type of carbon-based chip. Are you interested? Really? How is the performance? Mr. Chun had no doubts. As someone like Dongfang wouldn't lie, far surpassing the subpar Fruit A14. You can have Lu Chang come take a look. Of course, we will also buy the production line, just not for contract manufacturing. Dongfang, I will have Lu Chang come immediately. By the way, Mr. Chun, please send my regards to Sister Meng Wan. Dongfang said meaningfully. Mr. Chin's heart suddenly raced. Why would Dongfang ask him to send regards? Did he think I rescued Meng Wan? Or does he know something? Thank you, Dongfang, but she has gone missing, and I don't know where she is. I hope she is safe and sound, Mr. Chin replied, his response meticulously crafted, proving he was indeed a savvy entrepreneur. Oh, I must have remembered incorrectly. Mr. Chun, I'll wait for your news. Mr. Chun, thinking he had covered all angles, relaxed his mind, his thoughts consumed by the chips. Lu Chang, feeling a bit puzzled, knew that the company was skilled in software development. Could they really produce chips? However, he couldn't doubt them, as he would be conducting an on-site investigation. Forget it, he thought. He boarded the next flight to Yan'an City, accompanied by Bai Yu, a hardware expert from the flour company. They hurried to reach the bottom of the Di Huan building before the end of the afternoon workday. Looking up at the impressive office building, Lu Chang couldn't help but marvel. In less than a year, such a small company had developed so rapidly and changed so much. He was now even more convinced that there was no deception regarding the chips. Mr. Lu, this way please. Our General Dong has instructed that you can go straight in without reporting. The receptionist, wearing high heels and swaying her hips, led the way. In Dongfang's office on the top floor, this was the second time Dongfang met the man before him, who was not yet 20 years old. Lu Chang voluntarily extended his hand to shake Dongfang's. General Dong, you truly astonish me. Lu Chang spoke humbly, as if the title of Little General Dong was not even his own. Hello, Mr. Lu. This is our second meeting, so we are considered acquaintances. Please, no need to be polite. Take a seat. After the secretary served tea, she gently closed the office door. Yes, we are familiar now. We have a good foundation for cooperation, so I won't waste time with small talk. Where are the chips? Can you show us? Lu Chang was anxious. The small chip was crucial for the future of the company, and he couldn't afford to be calm about it. First, let's have some tea. The chips will be delivered shortly. Good things are worth waiting for. Dongfang chuckled, appearing remarkably composed. A bionic robot entered, holding a tray. Look, here they are. On the tray were two identical phones and several separate plastic boxes beside them. Lu Chang and the hardware engineer next to him exchanged glances and both reached out, each picking up one phone. But, aren't you supposed to take us to the lab to have a look? What are you trying to do? Chapter 64. Second-order gene agents. Thanks to the Zhatian gang, by June. And Guiyong Shan who loves sweet potatoes. Why would Dongfang sell the chips he uses to the company? As the company continued to develop new technologies, the chip, a pinnacle of global technology, would only make certain nations more vigilant. As the saying goes, the bird that sticks its head out gets shot. The company merely used foreign chip architecture for its own research, which led that nation to take action against it. If the company announced its success in chip development, the consequences could be imagined. Therefore, Dongfang needed a good partner who could take the heat. After all, the company had already faced sanctions, so things couldn't get worse, right? Dongfang silently calculated in his mind. Lu Chang and the hardware engineer exchanged the phones they held, quickly noticing a difference. The phone Lu Chang picked up from the tray was incredibly smooth. In his words, these were two completely different phones, even though they looked identical on the outside. Dong, I can't believe it, you actually succeeded. Lu Chang exclaimed, excited. This was a lifesaver. Is this the carbon-based chip? He picked up one of the plastic boxes on the tray. So beautiful. The unpackaged carbon-based chip emitted a unique glow, and Lu Chang was deeply mesmerized. Yes, the chips installed in the phones were cut from the same wafer. Can I go see the lab? Sorry, Dong, I'm too excited. I really want to see our country's chip production equipment. Although Lu Chang had seen chip manufacturing countless times, he still wanted to see it. Of course, Dongfang said, leading the two to the lab. Unlocking the door, Dongfang stood at the entrance of the fourth-floor lab and issued a command. Biometric match successful, unlocking. A green laser swept over Dongfang, and the lab's smart assistant unlocked the door. The glass door opened automatically, and the group changed into dust-proof suits and filed in. Wang Chen placed several processed wafers into the lithography machine. A few minutes later, the wafers were sent out. Lu Chang excitedly held one in his hands, continuously examining it through the transparent plastic cover. Dong, how do you plan to price these? 300 yuan. Dongfang blinked and said expressionlessly, it's 60 of the price of similar chips, but with superior performance. What about your company's production capacity? Don't worry. Have you seen that construction site? Dongfang pointed out the window. The new temperature-controlled workshop will be completed soon, so starting next month, we can produce as many chips as needed. Lu Chang left with a contract, initially purchasing 100 million chips. The Huaduo phone shipped 200 million units in 2019. The company needs to supply chips quarterly, with 25 million chips per quarter, and Huaduo will pay a deposit of 37.5 billion yuan up front. Dongfang's funds once again became incredibly abundant, exceeding 5 billion in total. They ordered equipment, purchased raw materials, and recruited skilled workers. The company became bustling once more. The old walls were torn down, and new walls were under construction. On September 23rd, at 10 o'clock p.m., Captain, the biochip has reported your current physical condition. You can return to the base for the injection of the second-stage gene serum. After continuous exercise, Dongfang finally broke through his physical limits again. Eagerly waiting for this day, he went to the rooftop and boarded the shuttle. The underwater base had changed again, with watchtowers surrounding it extending long energy cannon tubes. The number of engineering robots had increased even more. Each one was holding a metal canister, driving into the storage area to unload before heading back to the heavy water refinery for more transport. Nova, what kind of energy do we use at the base? I haven't seen any energy supply, Dongfang asked, having overlooked this question before while heading to the medical center. Captain, we haven't found high-energy minerals on Blue Planet, but there is endless seawater here. Currently, antimatter cannot be refined with our equipment, so we are using controllable nuclear fusion energy, what the Blue Planet people refer to as an artificial sun, and it won't pollute the ocean. What about the various robots? Dongfang asked his second question. They use 3 types of energy and are equipped with micro super battery packs. When there is sunlight, they use solar energy to charge the battery packs. When direct sunlight is not available, they activate micro-nuclear fusion reactors. There are also bioenergy converters, meaning they can replenish energy from food. In short, they will never lack energy. So that's how it is. No wonder the 2 bionic robots have never needed to recharge. Dongfang stopped asking questions as the moving platform delivered him to the entrance of the medical center. He stepped up the stairs and walked inside. The injection method for the second-stage gene serum was different from the previous 2 times. Now, Dongfang was completely unclothed, although there were no humans in the base. Nova was intelligent, which made him a bit awkward. Being watched by a smart brain while undressing was. Dongfang gritted his teeth and stepped into the transparent medical chamber filled with green liquid. Overcoming his inner fear, he submerged his head into the liquid, even though Nova had already indicated that he could breathe while lying in the nutrient solution. Cough, cough, cough. Dongfang still ended up choking himself. Since coming into this world, this is his first time breathing in a liquid other than amniotic fluid. Haha. Once adapted, he felt a familiar sensation, as if he had returned to his mother's womb. It was warm, comfortable, and gave an indescribable sense of security. He just wanted to take a nap. Sir, please prepare yourself. I will now inject you with the second-level gene serum. It may be a bit painful, but it won't last long. He didn't listen carefully. He really enjoyed lying in the medical pod. It's fine. I've had it twice before. I understand. Let's get started. Soft metallic bands extended from the medical pod, firmly securing his limbs and head. A mechanical arm then inserted a fully automated controllable injector into his arm. Why are you tying me down? He sensed something was off. To prevent you from hurting yourself. Wait, I'm not ready yet. Let me out first. This serum is used by the inhabitants of the local planet. Is it suitable for me? My life is the top priority. He wanted to struggle, but it was futile. Don't worry, sir. Before your first injection, I conducted a complete gene match, so the gene serum is very suitable for you, even more so than for most locals. The blue gene serum slowly flowed into his veins. With the injection of the second-level gene serum, his agonized screams echoed throughout the medical center. Even the operations could not cover his immense cries. Intense pain radiated from his arm and spread throughout his body. He felt like a shrimp being boiled, his skin turning visibly red. The green nutrient solution began to disappear, becoming transparent. Some black substances scattered as he trembled violently, eventually gathering at the bottom of the medical pod and being sucked away by the circulator. Meanwhile, a continuous flow of nutrient solution re-entered the pod, dyeing the already transparent liquid green again. He felt that this was the slowest time he had experienced since arriving in this world. As time passed, the excruciating pain not only did not lessen, but rather intensified beyond human limits, causing him to roll his eyes and faint. Was this a bit painful? Damn it. This is going to cost me my life. This was the only thought he had before losing consciousness. It felt so comfortable, as if shedding a layer of shackles. Lying on a cloud, his hand moved, then his eyelids fluttered open. His eyes sparkled like black gemstones, as if a light was shining from within. This feeling was incredible. He realized he had been transferred to a bed in the medical center. Suddenly, he felt something missing. Lifting the blanket, he exclaimed, "Oh no, I'm still naked." He quickly rolled over, sat up from the bed, and put on the clothes that were placed at the head of the bed. There was originally a humanoid bed, which had returned to its original form. Dongfang took a closer look. It turned out that this bed was made up of countless metal wires finer than a hair. They functioned like tiny jacks, able to move up and down freely. The top was made of soft liquid metal, feeling similar to cotton fabric, without any cold metallic touch. When someone lay on the bed, the central control computer would automatically adjust the movement of the metal wires based on the user's posture, shaping it to the most comfortable position for human rest. Amazing. So many clever features for just a bed. Dongfang patted the bed with satisfaction. "Nova, get me one too. To put in my office." "As you wish, Captain. How do you feel?" Nova asked. If Nova hadn't brought it up, Dongfang would have almost forgotten. "It's comfortable, really comfortable. How to put it? It's like finally getting rid of a heavy burden that has been pressing down on me for a long time." His body seemed to feel weightless. As he spoke, Dongfang gently jumped and found himself on the ceiling. With another push, he appeared on the wall, seemingly defying the laws of physics. It felt as if his body was no longer a burden, weightless. He landed steadily back at his previous jumping position. "All right. It seems the genetic agent really suits you." After saying this, Nova quickly disappeared from view. "Nova, come back. Didn't you say you had already done the matching?" "Although the matching has been done, it still hasn't reached 100. However, seeing you so lively puts my mind at ease." This time, only a voice came through. Nova didn't even show its face. Even when Dongfang threatened to delete the main program, it acted as if it hadn't heard. Damn, truly impressive for an advanced civilization's intelligence. In the virtual reality network, Dongfang saw that handsome middle-aged man with blonde hair again. "Long time no see, Dongfang. Your study progress hasn't been great lately." Teacher, can we start learning how to control the first-generation mecha?" We can start now." Arthur has crashed and suddenly turned into a character from a game. The master's command is absolute. This time, it was Dongfang who crashed, opening his mouth wide. "Stop with the nonsense. Can we be normal for once?" What just happened? Why did it suddenly disconnect? The image flickered again, and Arthur appeared. "Stop messing around." Dongfang scratched his head in frustration. "Dongfang, you need to keep progressing. Can't you handle just this much? To pilot the first-generation mecha, you must be calmer and more focused." "Got it, teacher." With a fierce heart, yet gently sniffing a rose, right? "Exactly. So you were just trying to tell me the trick to piloting the first-generation mecha. I understand now, teacher." "You're mistaken. It was Nova playing with you." Arthur tossed his hair stylishly. Nova, come out." "Captain, you need to discern carefully. Once you enter a learning state, I will not interfere at all." Nova appeared in the mecha training ground. This was Dongfang's first time seeing it in the virtual reality network, and it was stunning. It was dressed in a cool combat suit. Why cool, you ask? Because it was equipped with light armor on all the important parts of its body, with two pointed, flat shoulder pads that gently swayed up and down as it moved. A face so perfect, without a single flaw, with two black eyes like gems set against snow-white skin. Its straight nose and translucent ears framed by flowing black hair. Its figure was the epitome of the golden ratio. Adding an ounce would make it fat. Removing an ounce would make it thin. The Eastern Observer was practically drooling. What am I supposed to do with this? Am I ever going to find a wife again? Arthur stepped in front of the Eastern Observer, patting his head and shouting, "This is just an intelligent brain. Do you understand? An intelligent brain. Captain, you go ahead. I have to get busy," Nova said, disappearing from sight before the Eastern Observer could respond. Finally coming back to his senses, he pushed away Arthur's hand that was resting on his head. I know, but your tests today are a bit excessive." No sooner had he spoken than a row of massive mechas appeared before them. They varied in shape, with both human and animal forms. The human-like ones were further divided into robust, weapon-laden artillery mechas, sleek and elongated agile mechas equipped only with giant high-frequency pulse swords, and shorter assassin-type mechas wielding daggers. The animal forms included leopard, wolf, and spider types with 8 long legs. There was also a particularly special one, with 4 pairs of long legs and a massive explosive cannon mounted on top. Needless to say, this was a fire support mecha. The Eastern Observer found himself drooling again. "Teacher, which one should we start with? How about we start with the artillery type? I like it." The remaining mechas gradually faded away, leaving only one with blue paint. Equipped with a high-frequency pulse sword at its waist and a giant explosive rifle on its back, standing at approximately 6 meters tall. Its figure appeared particularly slender and agile among all the mechas. The industrial aesthetics were fully displayed. The Eastern Observer imagined the battlefield. The blue mecha running through a war-torn field, easily dodging massive energy beams shot at it, maneuvering at high speed, and appearing behind the enemy. The high-frequency pulse sword swung. effortlessly slicing enemies in half. Even now, as it stood silently, the Eastern observer could still feel the immense energy contained within. Pressing the hidden button beneath the mecha's leg armor, a retractable ladder automatically dropped from the open hatch at the mecha's chest. The Eastern observer donned a specially designed anti-load suit and climbed the ladder into the cockpit. The cockpit seemed to be a perfect sphere, and it was small. As he entered through the open hatch, he could see all the equipment inside at a glance. Aside from a special pilot seat and the open hatch, there was nothing else. Hurry up and get in. A familiar voice came from below in the eastern direction. Looking down, Dongfang saw Arthur climbing up the ladder. He shrank his body and entered the mecha cockpit. Upon closer inspection, the pilot seat was indeed quite special. There were control sticks on both armrests and pedals for the feet. Dongfang guessed that they might be power levers. A circular metal ring with a notch surrounded him, and a rectangular central control panel with numerous buttons hung from the metal ring. Peering left and right, he noticed there were no monitors. How was he supposed to drive without seeing outside? Filled with confusion, Dongfang sat down in the pilot's seat through the notch in the metal ring. Immediately, the seat began automatic adjustments and extended 2 safety belts, which crossed in an X shape to securely fasten him in place. He moved his arms and legs, finding that it didn't restrict his movement at all. Perfect design. Dongfang, start the machine, Arthur said as he entered the cockpit behind Dongfang and casually closed the hatch. After speaking, he pressed on the metal wall, and a small seat popped out. Arthur sat down and fastened his X-shaped safety belt. What are we waiting for? He asked, perplexed by the absence of the machine's roar. Where's the start button? Dongfang felt a headache coming on. With your right hand, under the armrest. There's a red cover. Yes, open it and press hard. A massive roar erupted, and the metal ring in front of them automatically closed, revealing the central control panel directly in front of Dongfang. It was very close. He could reach it with a slight stretch. A holographic projection popped up from the top of the cockpit, casting onto the wall directly in front of Dongfang. Wow, this looks impressive. Teacher, what should I do? Dongfang asked. He was quite clear about the design of the mecha, but driving it was a different matter. He understood the mechanisms of the body, but was clueless about how to operate it. The hands and feet controlled the power of the limbs, while the buttons on the control panel managed the movements of each limb. To put it simply, if he wanted the mecha to step forward, he needed to control it to lift its left leg, step out, land, then lift the right leg and step forward again, alternating back and forth until it could walk normally. Once he mastered controlling it as if it were his own body, he could try running. Arthur then introduced the functions of all the buttons on the control panel one by one. Dongfang counted and found there were as many as 360 buttons. His enhanced physical and mental capabilities allowed him to remember the functions of all the buttons after just one explanation. You can begin your first drive, but go slow. Focus on the fluidity of the mechanical movements. The enormous mecha lifted its right leg, but unfortunately, before the right foot could land, the left leg was raised immediately after. Can you imagine the result of a person lifting both legs at the same time? The mecha sat down heavily on the ground. The massive mecha created not one but 2 large dents in the training center floor. What are you doing? Do you lift both legs at once when you walk? The control of the limbs in unison meant that his own limbs also had to move together. The power distribution was good just now. But without waiting for feedback from the right leg of the mech, he controlled the mechanical movement of the left leg again. This led to the current result. Dongfang remained silent, repeatedly recalling his erroneous operation in his mind. It wasn't until he was sure he wouldn't make the same mistake again that he pressed the reset button. The mech returned to a standing position and stepped out with its right leg once more. Clang. The mech fell again. Angle. The angle. When you walk, does your leg shift out to 60 degrees, tripping over your own left leg? Arthur's shout echoed painfully in the small cockpit. Dongfang still said nothing. A mistake is a mistake. He never feared making mistakes, only worried about not having time to correct them. After pressing the reset button a second time, he didn't rush. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He quickly reviewed the steps that Teacher Arthur had just demonstrated in his mind. The mech stepped out with its right leg for the 3rd time. It landed steadily. The left leg followed. The right leg stepped out again. And the mech slowly but steadily moved forward, gradually increasing its speed. This kid, his talent is simply amazing. In such a short time, he not only memorized the functions of all the controls, but also managed to operate the mech stably by the 3rd attempt. What a treasure. Ha! Arthur was excited. His thoughts drifted back to when he had learned to pilot a mech at the training center. To be able to walk normally with a mech. He had spent a full half-month at the Mech Academy's training center. Even the old mechanics, known for their good temper, started cursing because after a day's training, any mech he piloted had to replace over 50 external armors. Forget it, forget it. Who told me I was so young back then? He selectively forgot that Dongfang was actually 2 years younger than he had been at that time. Not bad, not bad. Although Dongfang was learning quickly, he was still far from where I was back then. Even the worst student in our class could skillfully pilot a mech after their first crash, so Dongfang. You still need to keep working hard. Arthur showed no signs of abnormality, casually patting Dongfang on the shoulder. But the joy of discovering such a talent was hard to conceal. His lips couldn't help but curl up. This is for your own good. Dongfang nodded heavily. His hands moved swiftly across the control panel and power levers. The mech walked more steadily, gradually turning into a slow jog. This generation of mechs is a bit tricky. Dongfang felt a bit frustrated. Chapter 67. Unresolved Feelings. Thanks to Heartwing 717, Two-Finger Skill Master, Emon Yin Wei Liang, continuously accelerating, and accelerating again. Dongfang's hands seemed to transform into butterflies dancing on the control panel. The mech's movements became more natural, just like a human walking. Standing, squatting, running, jumping. He made great progress under Arthur's intentional pressure. Indeed, sometimes appropriate pressure can accelerate growth, but it must be done correctly. Arthur appeared to be very adept in this area. You've been training for 3 hours straight today, Dongfang. You can take a break now. Teacher, I feel great right now. I want to practice a bit longer. No, you're mistaken. Your brain has been in an excited state for too long, and your body is releasing a lot of adrenaline, which is why you don't feel tired. It's time to stop. Reluctantly, Dongfang slowed down his movements. Once the mech returned to a standing position, he turned off the energy reactor. The roaring noise gradually faded away, and the mech training center became quiet again. Dongfang, everything has its limits. You must remember that you shouldn't stop when you need to work hard. And don't force yourself when it's time to rest. Got it, teacher? He felt a bit reluctant. The metal ring automatically slid aside, opening a gap, and the seatbelt retracted. Dongfang straightened his back and stood up from the cockpit. Suddenly, he felt a bit unsteady and quickly grabbed the cockpit handle for support. Teacher Arthur, I was wrong. Realizing his current condition, Dongfang immediately understood Arthur's good intentions. Haha, kid, you're still inexperienced. Arthur's hearty laughter echoed. The virtual reality training could come to an end, and now he could enter the practical phase. Really? Is there any doubt? You probably don't even realize how exceptional you are. Arthur rubbed his nose. When have I ever deceived you? Just now. Daji even made it clear to me. Without further comment, Arthur instantly vanished from the cockpit. What a proud old man. Dongfang indeed felt a bit tired, so he exited the virtual reality network. Upon returning to the base, he collapsed into bed and fell asleep. Recently, various countries on Blue Star have started to hype the AG virus again. The spokesperson for the flag country stated, "We believe that the conclusion reached by the World Health Organization when they investigated in Huagua at the beginning of the year is untrue. We refuse to acknowledge the results and call for a comprehensive investigation to be conducted again. We believe the origin of the virus lies in Huagua, and we have obtained crucial evidence." After the press conference, this sparked another wave of heated discussions worldwide. The spokesperson for the major power stated, after rigorous verification, the evidence provided by the flag country is conclusive. Even though 20 days have passed, the flag country has still not released the so-called evidence. The minor country immediately jumped in. We agree with the official statement of the flag country, and we look forward to more evidence being released. Hi. That's all for my statement. The big stick country, not to be outdone, said, "We believe the flag country will present more compelling evidence." The spokesperson for Huagua responded, "At the beginning of the year, the World Health Organization conducted a thorough investigation into the virus situation in Huagua. The process was open and fair, with no human fabrication involved. We urge all parties not to follow the trend blindly and be deceived by certain misleading statements. At the same time, we hope that the flag country can open the Derek Fort Biological Laboratory to facilitate a thorough investigation by the World Health Organization, tracing the origins and providing the public with the truth. You group of sycophants. Don't you check if your boss cleaned his mouth after eating dog food before you start babbling? If you have the guts, let the dog out so everyone can see." Dongfang has been awake for a while, but today he decided to stay in bed a little longer. As soon as he opened the news app this morning, various reports flooded the internet. A barrage of accusations was being thrown at his country. Dongfang was very angry. So he scrolled through the various messages one by one. Such blatant slander. Do these fools have no bottom line? There were even some who had long changed their nationality. Shouting online. They claimed the country was opaque and questioned the investigation results, completely ignoring the millions infected and hundreds of thousands dead in the flag-bearing nation. You traitors. Dongfang left a comment under a big influencer's article that fabricated facts. Are you brainwashed into being a fool at home? Can't you see all these facts? The online trolls were led astray, just seeking momentary pleasure, and quickly jumped on the bandwagon. The upstairs troll said the original poster was right. They had already changed their nationality but still made such nonsense comments, which quickly got drowned out and flooded the screen. These people were like wolves drawn to rotten meat, pouring all their energy into Dongfang's comments. What a bunch of brainless online trolls. Dongfang felt helpless and distressed. These people were hopeless. Forget it. I won't argue with these idiots anymore. The real culprit is the flag-bearing nation. Dongfang couldn't swallow this anger. He felt unsettled. His hands were itching. It was time to organize some activities. Dongfang glanced at the clock. It was 8 o'clock a.m. A bit early, with a 13-hour time difference. So it wasn't the right time yet. He got up, got dressed, washed up, and had breakfast, diligently following his routine. After putting on his combat suit, Dongfang headed to the mecha training center. A transport robot pushed out a mecha from the hangar, which looked exactly like the one Dongfang piloted in virtual reality. The mecha in reality was even more impressive than in the virtual world. Its large armor and muscular mechanical body screamed that this was a killing machine. Following the suspension ladder, Dongfang entered the cockpit. The mecha tentatively began to move slowly in the training center. After a 10-minute warm-up, the mecha's speed rapidly increased. Starting to run, jump, and overcome obstacles. Hovering in midair, it ascended, until a sonic boom echoed. Dongfang, for the first time piloting a mecha, broke the sound barrier. Ascending, diving, spinning, he continuously performed various maneuvers, roaring over the base. He only landed when he felt satisfied, at the huge metal target in the corner of the training center. With punches that could create afterimages, the metal target was repeatedly dented before slowly recovering. Dongfang vented all the frustration he had from this morning onto the metal target. Damn, it's no wonder this target is made by a top-tier manufacturer. Its quality is incredible. He paused, feeling a bit better, but he wanted to feel even better. This wasn't enough. It was far from enough. Since it's difficult to settle, I'll make it settle. I'm coming, Derek Fort. Chapter 69. Major Cleanup 2. Thanks. The head of the biological laboratory at Derek Fort is a thin, short, elderly man, around 60 to 80 years old. Don't mind those details. These foreigners age quickly, and you can't tell their age just by appearance. Therefore, it was Eastern's guess about his age. Perhaps due to the nature of his work, this old man has never appeared in any media, and even his name is a secret. His subordinates all refer to him as Dr. B. When he was captured by the bionic robots, he had already sensed the danger and was about to escape through a secret passage. When Eastern saw him, the old man, with neatly combed silver hair and wearing a well-fitted plaid suit, sat expressionlessly at his desk. Oh, he looks quite kind, Eastern thought to himself. But don't be fooled by his appearance. Under the desk, the old man was quickly pressing the emergency alarm button. Why is there no response? This is a separately installed alarm signal. After all, he was an old devil who had witnessed various horrific scenes. Although he felt anxious inside, he showed no unusual reaction on his face. Don't bother, old man. If we can't handle the alarm system, you definitely won't meet me. Eastern spoke fluently in a certain foreign language. Now you see the purpose of learning English, right? He then sat down opposite the old man. For the first time, there was a ripple in the eyes of Morgan Elvis, the old man's name. He rubbed his eyes in disbelief. What is this? A human in a suit resembling Iron Man? And it looked even more sci-fi than Iron Man's suit, nearly 3 meters tall. It was like a piece of light fabric draped over a human, causing no hindrance to movement. Shouldn't this suit only appear in sci-fi movies? At the very least, it should be in a laboratory in a certain secret area. Who wears it? Unfortunately, he might never get the answer in his lifetime. With that thought, he released the button in his hand. Who are you? Or rather, who are you all? The appearance of the bionic robots is no different from that of humans. He could never have dreamed that the only human visiting the laboratory today was just one. Oh, quite calm. Actually, it wouldn't hurt to tell you. But I don't want to share the answer with a certain individual. After saying this, Eastern made a gesture with his hand, making a Bayou sound towards the old man's hair. To say that the old man's ability to handle pressure is indeed strong, even with a gun pointed at his forehead. He still remained unflustered, sitting there as if nothing was wrong, even his gaze returning to calm. That is not certain. What if I can tell you everything you want to know? A tough nut. Eastern felt frustrated. How did he encounter such a situation? Friend, hey, you should consider what you're doing. Is there anyone easy to talk to? Then tell me, what is going on with the AG virus? I'm not sure. Isn't this tracing back to the source? Well, what about the Ebola virus? I know even less about that. That's related to the black community. The person from the east nodded, smiling, although the old man couldn't see it. Inside, he was cursing, thinking about how to handle the situation. Another round of powerful truth serum. What is your name? Morgan Elvis's pupils lost focus for the first time. Is AG developed from the lab in Fort Detrick? Not clear, but as the person from the east asked again, his eyes regained clarity. Fine, let's administer another dose. The previous one was a bit low. This time, Morgan Elvis's dazed expression lasted quite a while. The east naturally obtained the information he wanted most. The AG virus was indeed developed in the biological laboratory at Fort Detrick. In June 2019, technical staff at the base discovered it accidentally. After injecting a bat SARS-like coronavirus into test subjects, the virus mutated. It formed a new type of coronavirus with enveloped particles that are round or oval, often polymorphic with diameters ranging from 60 to 140 nanometers. It is highly contagious. When the technicians were transporting the zero patient, there was a lapse in protection. By the time the government noticed, there was already widespread transmission. In July 2019, residents in the surrounding area contracted a type of pneumonia referred to by doctors as white lung disease. Unavoidably, the government temporarily closed the Fort Detrick Biological Laboratory and deleted all online reports about white lung disease. That was how they suppressed the incident. What about the Ebola virus? We released it among those enslaved individuals to verify its lethality. Indeed, this is a beast in human skin. He even revealed more shocking secrets, such as the inexplicable outbreaks in several small countries after World War II, the widespread human deaths in Middle Eastern countries, and the sources of all test subjects, capturing homeless individuals and secretly apprehending people from war-torn countries. They also needed any living humans, even prisoners. The number of humans who died in their experiments exceeded 10,000. You truly are a beast. No, we are just for the health of humanity. We are only researching how to resist viruses. You unevolved scum. Did your mother throw away the human and raise the placenta instead? The person from the east exclaimed in anger. Unfortunately, the old man couldn't understand. He looked at the east with confused eyes, as if to say, "What are you asking?" "Forget it. Anyway, I already know everything." "Nova, did you record the entire conversation just now?" "Of course, your wishes are my direction, and I even did some post-editing. Moreover, I processed your deep voice in post-production, knowing you fear fame. I added a nice mosaic effect, though I wonder if you like it." Nova has become increasingly cheeky lately. I don't know if it's influenced by Zhang Hao. All right, stop with the nonsense. I'm just trying to lighten the mood since I can see you're not in a good place. The energy from the east has dissipated significantly, so Nova's words are quite appreciated. It's time to arrange a spectacular ending for this old man. Captain, the cleaning task within the laboratory's designated area has been completed. After capturing the old man, the east dispatched a second transport ship to conduct a thorough cleanup of the 200 acres of land belonging to the Derek Fortress Biological Laboratory. All the bionic robots promptly reported on the execution of their tasks. Once the report was finished, the East fell into deep thought. How could he ensure that this old man has an especially remarkable ending? Chapter 70. Cleanup, thanks. And to the user with a non-existent username. Morgan Elvis had completely lost his earlier composure. Like a dead dog, he was dragged onto the transport ship by bionic robots. The East boarded the transport ship and took a glance at the filthy place. He couldn't help but sigh. Being behind means getting beaten up, an eternal truth. The explosive devices had all been installed, and the demolition team was returning. In 5 minutes, everything would unfold. The transport ship's hatch closed, quickly ascending to a height before stopping. With the interference of the high-frequency pulse sound waves gone, the tremendous roar of the explosive devices echoed above Derek. All the buildings were lifted from the ground like paper by the shockwave's energy, and when they fell, they were reduced to rubble. All the filth was buried. However, there was one area that was quite special, an open space in front of the laboratory's core building. 5 minutes later, all the explosive devices were exhausted. A small figure fell from the sky, crashing into that open area. Blood splattered out, but a strange scene unfolded. All the blood seemed to be manipulated by magic, quickly moving across the ground. In the end, it formed a visually appealing line of English words. "We were wrong. Haha, wonderful, wonderful." The old man struck quite a pose. After seeing this on real-time monitoring, the East's earlier frustration vanished completely. The transport ship activated its energy shield and swiftly disappeared into the vast night. Alan lived near the Derek Fortress Laboratory, and he had stayed up late the previous night. Therefore, he fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupted, shattering all the glass in his bedroom. He was also thrown into the air by the subsequent shockwave, crashing back onto the bed. The tremendous impact made him feel extremely uncomfortable. After a few coughs, he spat out a mouthful of blood. He knew this was the result of his internal organs shifting. With a pale face and blood-red lips, he looked like a ghost. A woman's scream pierced his ears. It was his fortunate wife. Alan gently pounded his chest, feeling slightly better. "Quick, call 911. We might have been attacked." After saying this, he glanced out the window. No flames were visible, just an ominous darkness. "Hello. This is an emergency line. How can I assist you?" "I'm so scared. It seems we've encountered a terror attack. My husband is injured and needs help. We are in a state of panic." This voice belongs to Alan's wife. "Don't panic. Are the attackers still there? Can you see them?" "I don't know. I can't see anything, just a loud noise." "Okay, help will arrive soon. Please try to stay safe." The emergency call center was ringing continuously. "We live near a military base, and many local residents are calling in. In such a situation, there's nothing else they can do but report it. An hour's drive from the base is the Army headquarters." A large number of soldiers rushed out of their barracks. some in such a hurry that they didn't even have time to dress properly before grabbing their rifles and jumping into armored vehicles. Armed helicopters and fighter jets roared down the runway, piercing through the clouds towards the base. The fighter jets were the fastest, and within minutes, the pilots reached the airspace above the base. The pilots displayed excellent flying skills, skimming low over the area. However, they found nothing except for debris and scattered small fires. Report: no findings. Repeating, Aircraft 1 has no findings. Black Hawk helicopters hovered over the open space. Special Forces personnel descended via ropes. Unfortunately, all they were met with was a line of text in English stating, "We were wrong." After taking photos for reporting, they dispersed. Report: no terrorists found. Nothing but construction debris here. The communication device fell silent. Are you there? Repeating, no findings. In the command room of the Army headquarters, a group of senior generals sat quietly in their seats. No one spoke. They had never encountered such a situation before, except for the incident at Area 51. Finally, the elder at the head of the table spoke. All soldiers, upon arrival at the target, commence search and rescue operations. We need survivors. We need intelligence. Yes. The mood in the east was pleasant. He sat leisurely in the control room of the transport ship, watching the reactions from various sectors. It was truly a demonstration of technological superiority. The east had not gone far, just hovering 20,000 meters above the base. He saw someone discover the message he left behind and issued the command to return. Meanwhile, a video began to circulate wildly across the global network. This was a 28-minute video featuring an elderly man and a heavily pixelated person with altered voice engaged in conversation. However, the video's publisher was unknown. No matter how hard the world's top hackers tried, they could not uncover any information about the video's source. One of them, named Vide, exhausted all means but yielded no results. Reluctantly, he shifted his focus from the video's publisher to the short clip that had already garnered 1.2 billion views in just a few hours. My name is Morgan Elvis, and I am the head of the biological laboratory in a certain military base. The AG virus was accidentally leaked by a researcher. Wade was excited. Although he wasted several hours, he quickly got a major scoop. As the video played, more secrets were revealed. He couldn't sit still and immediately downloaded the video, editing the eye-catching major secrets into a short video of just 3 minutes. He posted it in a chat group full of hacker friends, successfully creating a sensational headline. The biggest scoop of the century. If you don't watch it, you will regret it. Just as he posted the video, a large number of edited videos also flooded into the chat. It seemed no one was slower than him. Who was the genius behind this? Entering the base felt as easy as walking into a doghouse. Truly, a god among men. Worship and reverence filled the chat interface. And he thought about posting it online to gain some traffic. Soon, the chatter died down. It seemed everyone had gone to ride the wave of popularity. Of course, Wade reacted faster than them. After posting the video in the chat, he immediately released it online because he was a top hacker and wasn't he afraid of being discovered. Just like the original creator of the video, he vanished without a trace on the internet. Chapter 71. Entering the Capitol in the hall of the Information Warfare Center at the Ministry of Defense, rows of computers were set up, each manned by a soldier. Their fingers flew rapidly over the keyboards. The center's head, sweating profusely, stood at the front, shouting, "Immediately take control of 13 root servers and delete all messages regarding the short video." Unfortunately, in handling the aftermath of the biological laboratory, their actions were a step too slow. Several hours had already passed, and countless people had downloaded and saved the video. They kept deleting, yet many continued to upload. "Commander, our manpower is limited, and we can no longer control the situation. Unless what? Speak up. Unless we shut down the root servers. But the losses would be too great. I'm afraid I can't bear that." The head hesitated. He couldn't take responsibility for a global internet shutdown. Report it. This matter has become uncontrollable. Ultimately, considering the enormous cost, the military did not shut down the root servers. Therefore, an emergency press conference was held. Spokesperson, please view this video incident rationally. All content in this video is fabricated. The head of the laboratory is not this person at all. We don't even know who he is. If the person who released the video is real, please step forward and confront us. At the same time, we advocate for a severe crackdown on terrorism. The world was in an uproar. Even the junior allies didn't dare to refute this time. After all, the reasoning was a bit too far-fetched. In the east, someone was sitting in their office, watching this news report. What a long and pleasant day it has been. He smiled as he took a sip of tea and casually turned off the computer on the table, which was no longer his concern. There are quite a few documents to sign today. The plot of land next to the auction company is 200 acres, with an expenditure of 200 million. Purchasing domestic lithography machines and materials related to chip manufacturing will cost 2 billion. The new factory area will require 500 million. There are over 20 items in total for salary expenditures, amounting to 3 billion. All these are essential, so the signing went smoothly. His speed in handling documents was impressive, and he quickly completed everything. Brother Su, what brings you to call me? Su Lei's call came in. I heard your company has developed carbon-based chips. You have quite the scoop. We just signed the agreement. Don't be so coy. Yes, we do. Dongfang spread his hands with a helpless expression. We're not going this time. You should bring the chips to the capital. After all these dealings, I believe you've guessed my identity. The leader wants to meet you. All right. When? Dongfang had been waiting for this day. As the business of the company expanded, it had grown quite large. Therefore, not meeting the decision-makers left him uneasy. Fearing his hard work could be undone. Let's set it for 3 p.m. tomorrow. The leader will be free then. Sure, but I don't know where to go. Please provide an address. No need. I'll pick you up at the airport tomorrow. Besides, even if I told you, you wouldn't be able to enter. Remember to inform me of your flight schedule. Am I coming alone? What? Do you want to bring a girlfriend? Su Lei teased. No, I don't have one. I'm still young, but I do have 2 bodyguards. Can they come? I'm afraid not. Understood. One good thing follows another. I just dealt with that group of troublemakers, and now I'm being received by the leader. I need to get a haircut. First impressions are important. Thinking this, Dongfang left the room. At 10:12 a.m. the next day, the plane landed on time at the capital's airport. Dongfang, dressed in a sharp suit, walked ahead, followed closely by 2 bionic robots carrying a travel bag containing graphene wafers and chips. Just as he exited the airport hall, he heard someone calling him. Looking up, it was Su Lei, standing by the roadside next to a black Hongqi sedan. Hello, Brother Su. Dongfang quickly walked over. Get in. Let your bodyguards find a place for lunch themselves. After a brief conversation, Dongfang took the black handbag and got into the inconspicuous Hongqi sedan. Brother Su, can we talk now? Where are we headed? I can't sell you, can I? But it's fine to tell you. Have you heard of Zhonghai? Of course. I've heard about it since I was little. It's quite famous. After an hour's drive, the Hongqi sedan entered the main street, flanked by the square that people nationwide aspire to and the historical treasure palace. The east looked greedily out the window. The last time he came, there were too many people, and he didn't get a chance to explore here. The car made a turn and arrived at the entrance with a guard post. Hello. Director Su, please show the pass for the accompanying personnel. Indeed, it was not easy to get in here. Su Lei took out the pass from his briefcase, which had a photo of the east attached to it. After confirming the pass, Su Lei put it back in his bag. Brother Su, let me take a look. What are you looking at? Just wait. As they spoke, the car stopped at the entrance of a small courtyard. Get out. What are you waiting for? Hey, it's not my first time here. I'm just not familiar with it. Next time will be better. Su Lei was amused by this. Thinking about next time seemed unrealistic. The East got out of the car and surveyed the small courtyard before him, which was entirely in a traditional Chinese style, constructed from stone and wood, exuding an antique charm. As he looked through the open gate, a shadow wall with the character for fortune blocked his view. He wondered what kind of scenery was inside. Come in, the leader is still busy. Let's take a break and wait for him. Su Lei's voice came from inside as he walked in. Without a word, the East hurried to follow. After passing the shadow wall, a small courtyard appeared before them. In the center was a pebble-paved path, flanked by greenery. To the left, right, and in front of the small courtyard were auxiliary rooms and the main house. It was quiet and comfortable, and the East's heart seemed to calm down as well. Brother Su, who is this leader? Unable to hold back, he asked the question he was most curious about. Su Lei remained silent, merely nodding slightly. He replied in a very low voice. If it weren't for the East's good hearing, he might not have caught it. The two sat down at a stone bench and table at the entrance. Some snacks and tea were served by the staff. Let's have some first. The leader will be back soon, Su Lei said as he glanced at his watch. Chapter 72. Work hard. The East and Su Lei chatted over tea and snacks. Su Lei was very interested in the East's research process on chips, while the East was curious about his lifestyle. What was it like for a soldier who followed a leader around all day? They talked freely, moving from chip development to daily training for soldiers. Then to the recent incident at Derrick Fort, and on to Area 51, family matters, and trivialities. The East realized for the first time that this man, who spoke little in front of him, was quite talkative. Old Zhao, I've brought the East. Suddenly, Su Lei stood up and saluted towards the path behind the East. The East had already heard someone approaching, moving slowly, and could tell it was an elderly person. However, he didn't know anyone here except Su Lei, so he pretended not to know anything. Seeing Su Lei stand up and salute, he also got up and turned around. Hello, Old Zhao. The East felt a bit nervous. After all, it was his first time meeting such a high-ranking leader. He felt awkward standing, and even more so sitting. He didn't know where to put his hands. After saying that, he stared blankly at the elderly man before him. Zhao Jinyu really resembles him. He is simply a younger version of the elder Zhao. However, the temperament of the two is completely different. One has emerged from the war years, forged through blood and fire. The founding hero who has walked out from mountains of corpses and seas of blood exudes an invisible aura even when standing quietly. Hello, young comrade from the East. I've long admired your reputation. How could you admire me? It should be me who admires you. Without predecessors like you, who sacrificed their lives for the country, we wouldn't have the happy lives we have today. Haha, you flatter me well. Not at all. I'm just speaking from the heart. Seeing the elder Zhao so amiable, the young man from the east gradually relaxed. After all, we all have two eyes and one nose. No one is more than the other. If there is anything, it's that the young man from the east has a bit more hair. Don't learn from Jinyu. Whenever he comes back, he always brings you up, saying you've achieved this and that. It's enough to make my ears calloused. I'm still far behind you. All right, it's noon already. Let us have lunch together. Under the elder Zhao's lead, the three entered the dining hall. Lunch was already set on the table, standard 3 dishes and a soup. Not much different from what ordinary families eat. There was tofu, stir-fried pork with chili, and a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Sit down, don't be shy. Just eat like you're at home. By the way, you should introduce your chip to us. The young man from the east didn't hold back. Having had a light breakfast with some tea, he was already hungry, as he really disliked airplane meals. He quickly served rice for the 3 of them and picked up his chopsticks to eat. Sule kept giving him signals. But the young man from the east was too focused on the food to notice. What a waste of flattery on a blind man. However, despite the simplicity of the 3 dishes, the flavors were quite distinct and delightful. Elder Zhao, I was rude. He suddenly remembered and spoke awkwardly. Youth. Being able to eat is a blessing. Look at me. I want to eat but can't have much. Let us talk about the chips instead. This actually starts from my development of the Xiao Nua intelligent assistant. The young man from the east put down his bowl and chopsticks. Discussing everything from the intelligent assistant to game engines, the challenges faced during development, and how he thought of the path of industry-academia collaboration. The elder Zhao listened attentively, nodding in agreement. Did you bring the chips with you? Although I'm an old man who doesn't understand much, I still want to see our world number 1. Once the young man from the east finished speaking, the elder Zhao finally spoke up. Let us see. The young man from the east took out a few chips and a flower-patterned phone from the bag at his feet and handed them to the elder Zhao. Good. This is truly a crystallization of technology. How much can this small chip sell for? 300 yuan. What about the cost? Just in terms of production cost, about 20 yuan. But with our D costs added. That's why we say science and technology is the primary productive force. Good. The elder Zhao kept exclaiming in delight. Clearly very pleased. Hey, your phone is really easy to use. Much better than those other brands. The elder picked up the phone on the table to try it out. This one is a gift for you. This kid really knows how to get on your good side. Commander, take your medicine and rest. At that moment, a staff member walked in. Your health is. After a few words, the elder turned his head towards the east. In my youth, I only knew to charge forward, leaving behind a host of ailments from the battlefield. Now that I'm old, I feel uncomfortable everywhere, lacking energy, and have to be managed by these healthcare doctors. Actually, the reason I called you here today is to see you. Secondly, to check our own little chip. And thirdly, to tell you to work hard. Don't have any concerns. The country is your strong backing. All right, let Xiao Su take you around the city. I need to go take my medicine. The east nodded vigorously, finally easing a burden off his mind. With Zhao Lao's words, he could now step forward and thrive in various fields. The elder stood up to leave. Brother Su, you handle your work. There are still a lot of things waiting for me at the company. The east didn't want to wait even a moment, raising his leg to head out. Don't rush. Can you get out? Wait a moment. I'll have the car take you. Sule reached out to hold him back. This kid was too anxious. Soon, that black sedan arrived at the small courtyard again. The east got into the car, waved at Sule, and left without looking back. This kid, shaking his head. Sule turned back to the small courtyard. The next morning, in the conference room of the Earthring Company, it was crowded with people, and all management personnel were present. Everyone is here. The staff responsible for counting the attendees whispered in the East's ear. The East nodded. Let's have a brief meeting. Today we have one thing to discuss regarding the company's restructuring. The conference room immediately fell silent, with everyone turning their attention to the center. The company's scale is continuously expanding, so I have decided that we will become Earthring Technology Group Company, Limited, and establish 5 subsidiaries: software development, machinery manufacturing, chip production, biopharmaceuticals, and laboratories. We will merge the Little Raindrop Game Studio with the software development department to establish Earthring Software Company and newly form Earthring Machinery Manufacturing Company. Does anyone have any opinions? Boss, I fully agree. Zhang Hao immediately jumped up. Chapter 73, Ball Screw. Thanks everyone East. I have no objections to the others, but we have absolutely nothing in the field of machinery manufacturing. We don't even have a single machine tool. And in biopharmaceuticals, we can't even claim to have any involvement. Gao Yuan has indeed grown a lot. He wasn't confused by the series of decisions from the East and clearly identified the company's shortcomings while proposing countermeasures. Although we could start the recruitment process now, the timing. The East nodded in agreement. Indeed, Our preparations are not sufficient at this moment, but we can set up a framework first and gradually improve it later. So, do you have any candidates in mind for the heads of the subsidiaries? Gao Yuan raised a second question. First, gather some opinions, and then we can discuss it. Sure, I have no issues here. Let's see if anyone else has opinions. Gao Yuan closed the notebook in his hand and looked around. The others naturally had no objections, and the company's reorganization was thus finalized. On the morning of October 8th at 8 o'clock, a large stone tablet was placed in front of the office building of the company. The tablet was covered with a red silk cloth, completely concealing the words on it. Dongfang and Gao Yuan walked up to the tablet and each grabbed a corner of the red cloth. With a gentle tug, the cloth fell away, revealing in large golden characters, Earth Ring Technology Group Company. Limited warm applause erupted for a full 2 minutes before it finally subsided. Everyone, go back to your work. Dongfang waved his hand. The crowd immediately dispersed, hurrying to their respective workstations. Recently, WeVE held several recruitment fairs, even during the National Day holiday. At least WeVE set up the framework. Gao Yuan followed Dongfang into the office building. I know everyone has been working hard lately, so let's issue some bonuses to encourage everyone. Although expenses have been high recently, as the saying goes, a horse must eat grass to run. Dongfang understood this well. The two ascended the stairs and entered Dongfang's office. Do you have a moment? Regarding the subsidiary heads, I have some preliminary opinions, Gao Yuan said as he entered. They both sat down on either side of the office chairs. The laboratory will naturally be overseen by Wang Chun for chip manufacturing. The initial suggestion is to let Zhang Hao take it on. What do you think? Gao Yuan hesitated, concerned that Dongfang might not agree. Go on, Dongfang said, picking up a cup and taking a sip of tea. For mechanical manufacturing, our suggestion is to let the newcomer Deng Yuanji give it a try, as we lack relevant experience. For software development, let's have Chun Jin handle it. His capabilities are well known, and having Zhu Jiangwo and Zhang Hao as assistants would be great. However, for biopharmaceuticals, we really don't have good candidates. Gao Yuan paused. This was the first set of proposals he had put forward with the heads of finance, HR, and administration. How is the recruitment for biopharmaceutical technicians going? We Haven Tea had much luck this time. The people we've brought in can only be considered usable. They might be good academically, but managing a company is different. What do you think of Zhang Chong? Dongfang looked up at Gao Yuan. His abilities are decent, and his recent performance has also been good, but Gao Yuan already knew about his situation. Let us go with him. I have no objections otherwise. But this Deng Yuanji. Before Dongfang could finish, there was a knock on the door. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. The newcomer Deng Yuanji pushed the door open and walked in. Both the chairman and General Gao are here. I'm Deng Yuanji, the new hire, temporarily in charge of our production workshop. I was just about to talk to you both about company matters, and now it's perfect timing. Deng Yuanji was 38 years old, from the northeast, standing a full 1.9 meters tall. He fell in love with the place when he came to study here at 19. After graduating, he stayed despite his parents' objections. He is a student at a university specializing in industrial technology, where he studied mechanical design, manufacturing, and automation. After graduation, he worked for a long time at a machine tool manufacturing factory as a workshop director. Although his income was not high, it was stable, and his family of 3 lived a warm life. However, when his son struggled with studies and his wife wanted to buy a property in a good school district, money became an issue. Without waiting for a response from Dongfang, Deng Yuanji continued, Chairman, our factory building is completed and the machine tools are installed. But what exactly are we going to produce? The workers are just chatting at the entrance. Isn't that a waste of time? I felt uneasy and wanted to discuss this with you too. Oh, is that so? This is indeed a problem. We are not familiar with mechanical manufacturing, and Haven Tea determined our products yet. Looking at your resume, you have been engaged in mechanical manufacturing for a long time. Do you have any suggestions? Dongfang thought to himself that he wanted to see this person's capabilities. I have looked at our equipment. We have a full range of CNC machine tools including lathes, mills, borers, and grinders, and we have quite a few CNC machining centers. However, we lack large equipment and can only focus on small-scale production. How about we produce ball screws? I'm familiar with this. It will allow us to practice before gradually expanding our product range. Can you explain why? Dongfang became serious. Ball screws are essential components in precision machinery. Although the production difficulty is somewhat high, the profit margins are significant. Their selling price is calculated per meter. The longer they are, the higher the price. A 5-meter-long one starts at around 100,000. However, we need to acquire a large forging press. Deng Yuanji spoke confidently, demonstrating solid knowledge of the business. Dongfang felt pleased. This person was responsible and capable, though perhaps a bit too straightforward. I agree, but as far as I know, the precision of ball screws is classified into 7 grades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 10, with grade 1 being the highest. Not to mention grades 1, 2, And 3. Can we meet the domestic standard for grade 5? Our machines are all new and haven't been calibrated yet. Can we achieve that level of precision? We have a 5-axis CNC machining center. I can modify our machines. It should take about a month for the calibration. At least we can get the workers busy instead of just chatting around. Dongfang couldn't help but laugh at this straightforward man from the Northeast. I agree with your suggestion. You will be responsible for the equipment company from now on. Boss, then I won't hold back. I'll take my leave now. You two continue your discussion. Without waiting for Dongfang to speak, Deng Yuanji turned and left to organize production. Ball screws are the foundation of precision manufacturing. What a blunt fellow. Dongfang was speechless. Chapter 74. Don't break it. The equipment company transformed into a large construction site again, with various transport vehicles constantly moving. However, contrary to what everyone imagined, there was no dust flying around because the current factory buildings could be constructed using modular methods. Simply put, construction companies only need to complete the parts below the workshop floor. The rest can be delivered to the site. Just connect the pieces. It's just like playing with building blocks for kids. Dongfang stood beside, watching the construction workers assemble the blocks. Boss, this workshop can be built really quickly. Not only energy efficient and environmentally friendly, but also of good quality, Zhang Chong said, pointing at the steel structures being installed next to Dongfang. I think it won't take more than 5 days before it's ready for use. Dongfang nodded. You probably haven't seen the speed of construction robots. We're just getting started. Just as the two were talking, a tall, sweaty man rushed over to them. Dongfang turned to look and exclaimed, "Oh, it's this guy." He casually called out, "Brother Ji?" Deng Yuanji was taken aback. He had never seen a chairman call his subordinate Brother Ji like that, and he wondered if it was referring to something else entirely. Hey. That's not right, boss. Deng Yuanji and Zhang Hao somehow ended up together, with Zhang Hao boasting loudly, leaving Deng Yuanji stunned. That's why he called him boss right away and ran over, sweating profusely, completely forgetting about using his phone for communication. After catching his breath, he continued, "Boss, we have a bit of a problem. Can you take a look?" In Zhang Hao's eyes, Dongfang was an omnipotent deity. You couldn't just call? Dongfang found this northeast guy amusing again. I forgot in my haste, Deng Yuanji said, scratching the back of his head, feeling a bit embarrassed. All right, let us go check it out while we walk. Dongfang turned and headed toward the machinery manufacturing plant. Boss, I was boasting, I can't handle our processing center. I can't modify it, so the ball screw. Oh, I see. Haven't you tried driving it? Dongfang smiled and glanced at him. These are all new devices. Testing it won't help since the error value is there. But why is ours different? I took apart an old processing center from my previous employer, Hanchuan Machine Tool Factory. What do you think? This one might be one I produced myself. All the internal components have been replaced, except for the shell. I really don't know how to proceed, he admitted. Let us go take a look first. Dongfang was worried this guy might dismantle the modified processing center. If anyone in the entire company knew about this, it would undoubtedly be Dongfang. With Nova involved, they didn't even change the shell, which was already a concession. But he couldn't say anything about it. Who could he complain to? In the large temperature-controlled workshop, rows of processing centers and various types of CNC machines were neatly arranged. Just like what everyone sees on TV, the workshop was brightly lit and spotless. The level of automation was quite high, allowing one person to manage several machines. They only needed to place the pre-processed metal parts onto the fixtures of the processing centers. Press the start button, and wait for the processing to finish before taking them out and stacking them. Since the work hasn't started yet, the newly hired workers in the workshop are just hanging out at the entrance, chatting, smoking, and soaking up the sun. When they saw manager Deng Yuanji walking in with a young man, they extinguished their cigarettes and put on their hats. Manager Deng, are you capable? Did you go get reinforcements? Joked a technician around 40 years old, suggesting he was quite familiar with Deng Yuanji. You don't know anything. When the boss is here, nothing is a problem. The technician was taken aback. The person referred to as the boss was surprisingly young. Ignoring him, the two changed into their work uniforms and entered the workshop. As soon as they walked in, they saw a horizontally placed machining center with its casing removed. The side cover of the machining center was set aside, exposing its internal structure. Look at this, it's nothing like when we left the factory. Just look at this design and structure. It's simply the pinnacle of human achievement. I really don't know how to operate it. I wouldn't dare to test it. Seeing that Deng Yuanji didn't engage the machinery, Dongfang had an inkling of what to do. He picked up the casing from the ground and said, "Come on, let us put it back together." The two skillfully picked up a power screwdriver and quickly reattached the cover. Let us test it, get a metal piece, and we'll first try machining a threaded flange. Dongfang took off his gloves and put them in his pocket. All right. Deng Yuanji immediately grabbed a metal disc and clamped it onto the fixture. His basic skills were solid. He rapidly input all the command sets. After closing the glass cover of the machining center, he pressed the execution button, and the robotic arms swiftly retrieved the cutting tool from the tool library. Turning, milling, grinding, Soon a threaded flange appeared on the machining center's fixture. Deng Yuanji took out a micrometer to measure the size. 2,800,001 millimeters. Oh wow, Deng Yuanji is really excited. He knows very well that the machining precision of domestic centers can reach 0.008 to 0.010 mm, while advanced levels abroad can achieve 0.002 to 0.003 mm. This is no small gap. Think about it. A machine tool consists of countless parts, and each part has some error, right? Then all these parts get assembled. There are errors from the parts, errors generated during assembly, and errors caused by vibrations when the machining center is in operation. Not to mention errors caused by stress. It could drive anyone working with precision instruments crazy. He thought carefully. As of now, there is no company in the world that can achieve this. So, it's understandable that Deng Yuanji is excited. Boss, did the aliens send us this machining center? The technician bluntly guessed the outcome. What are you talking about? This is from a classified unit. Dongfang would not admit it. He had to let Su Lei take the blame. We have connections, so don't worry about production. By the way, if there is a problem with the machining center in the future, don't try to fix it yourself. Someone from above needs to come. Hey, boss. All right, let us focus on the ball screw and first improve the precision of our domestic machine tools by one level. Chapter 75, Sanctions. Thanks to Xianyi Accessories. User 36720005, Super Beast God. Chairman, are you busy? Wang Shen peeked into the office. Come on in, you're the head of the laboratory now. Have a bit of confidence. Dongfang put down the document in his hand. Sigh. Chairman, I have good news. Is it about the photoresist? Has there been substantial progress with the photolithography machine? Note 1 you already know. I allocated 20 million for Professor Zhong's research project, and it's been a while. There should be some results by now. You should go check the lab. All right. In front of the building of the Earth Ring Company, Wang Tao warmly extended his hands, shaking hands and chatting with media reporters and influencers attending the press conference. As a longtime employee in the administration of Earth Ring Company, he took over Zhang Chang's job and became the head of the administration department. Manager Wang, your Earth Ring Company is really impressive. This is already the 4th press conference this year, right? Can you give us a hint about what product you're going to unveil? You always keep it so mysterious that it leaves us stunned. The reporter from Yan'an TV, being a local media familiar with Earth Ring Company, spoke quite freely. Yes. The reporter from Ansai County echoed. Wang Tao smiled and shook his head. I don't know. Only our General Gao knows. Please come inside. The press conference will start soon. You rascal. Seeing more and more people arriving, the reporter from Yan'an TV patted Wang Tao's shoulder and hurried into the office building. Soon, the attendees filled the venue. Gao Yuan, dressed in a Zhongshan suit, walked onto the podium. Ever since Dongfang met Old Master Zhao in the capital, he developed a liking for the Zhongshan suit. He believes that suits have no aesthetic appeal and are uncomfortable, so he requires everyone to wear Zhongshan suits for formal occasions. Good afternoon, dear friends, we meet again. We have quite a few products to unveil today, so please be a little patient. The first item is the world's first carbon-based chip developed by Earth Ring Technology, the Yuyan 1200, with a starting memory of 10G. Priced at only 60 of the so-called 888, and its processing speed is over 5 times that. The second item is a 5-nanometer photolithography machine. The third item is a photoresist suitable for 5-nanometer chips. The fourth item is relatively simple, a ball screw with a precision of 0.00001. The fifth item is a mobile operating system developed based on the PC Deep Blue operating system, called the Azure operating system. Boom. The press conference venue erupted with excitement. Earth Ring Company quietly conquered 5 key technologies that were previously dominated by foreign countries. This is simply incredible. Dongfang habitually took out his phone and opened the live stream to sneak a peek. Mom, come quickly. Kneeling to watch the Earth Ring Company press conference is no longer enough. I want to pay my utmost respects. Wait, that is for respects. Leaving one to watch the live stream, Dongfang sprayed his tea on his phone. Once upon a time, I had a rough understanding of chips, lithography machines, and operating systems. But what on earth is a ball screw? Has something unexpected come into play? Those upstairs can just watch the scene. They definitely understand what's going on. And they're all cheering enthusiastically. Let's keep up in an orderly manner. The atmosphere is quite lively. Hey, did you type that with your tongue? Now, let me announce the prices of various products. The lithography machine sells for 1.2 billion. The audience is on edge, as that price tag is quite hefty. Oh right, that's an RMB. Gao Yuan continued, taking a deep breath. The price of photoresist is 5 million renminbi per ton, which is half the price of the same quality abroad. Chips are 300 renminbi each, and there's no discount even for bulk purchases. That's already quite low. The audience burst into laughter. The operating system is free, as long as you use our chips. A 5-meter ball screw costs only 20,000 RMB, regardless of specifications. Even before the press conference ended, Gao Yuan was surrounded by mobile phone manufacturers, chip producers, and machine tool manufacturers. After all, domestic companies can produce these items at very low prices. Who would still use foreign products, as long as the products from the company are genuine and production capacity is sufficient? Future overseas procurement? Haha. Mr. Gao, can we see your company's production workshop? The product department manager from a certain company shouted the loudest. He couldn't believe that the world's best-performing chips were developed and manufactured by a software company. So he wanted to see it for himself before reporting the company's next steps. If it turned out to be fake, there would be nothing more to say. Everyone else fell silent, staring at Gao Yuan, as they shared the same thought. No problem. I'll have Wang Tao take you there. Feel free to look around and ask questions. Gao Yuan knew exactly what they were thinking, chuckled, and agreed. How many wafers can we produce? A 12-inch wafer can produce about 630 to 640 pieces, and we can keep our yield rate around 90. Wang Tao answered quickly and confidently. Oh, can I test the performance? Wang Tao didn't say a word. Instead, he picked up a fully transparent flower phone and handed it to the product department manager. The results, of course, were beyond words. Facts speak for themselves. After touring all the workshops, the company heads felt at ease. Consequently, the contracts were signed quickly, with such low prices and excellent performance. Anyone who doesn't buy would be foolish. Meanwhile, the president of a certain country was signing a document in a prominent building. Countless journalists were aiming their cameras at him. As the president, he enjoyed this process, wearing a proud expression. He took a full 2 minutes to write just a few short words, waiting until all the flashes went off before signing his name. May I ask which companies are being sanctioned by your country this time? A BBC reporter asked. The old man put down his pen, appearing somewhat proud as he began to speak. For national security reasons, we have added a certain domestic company to our sanctions list. This company, which claims to have produced the world's first carbon-based chip, has raised questions since even prominent entities have not achieved such technological breakthroughs. How could a small domestic company manage this? Therefore, for the sake of national security and to protect the global community from deception, we must include it on the entity list, preventing such a company from selling products in our region. Have you ever used products from this company? Chapter 76. Industrial Mother Hen. I can only say that today's baseball game was great. I really enjoyed it. This seems to be a tradition in the region, with one person liking golf and another preferring baseball. Can you talk about the situation with the biolaboratory in the city? All right, that concludes today's press conference. The speaker finished and left without looking back. The reaction from the domestic side exceeded everyone's expectations. We express strong dissatisfaction regarding the inclusion of our private enterprises on the entity list without any evidence. In response, we conducted a thorough investigation of various companies operating in our territory and identified issues such as backdoor settings in certain chip products. Consequently, we have updated our restricted company list to include this particular company. At the same time, based on the principle of mutual benefit, if there are adjustments to the entity list, we welcome high-quality companies to operate in our market, fostering healthy competition. The inclusion of this company on the entity list has caused considerable frustration, and we are determined that their products should not be sold domestically. This is an unprecedented stance. With our own capabilities, we can confidently assert our position. Meanwhile, the company also issued a statement on its official website declaring that all its products are prohibited from being sold in the region, both now and in the future. A company directly confronting a nation. This caused a huge stir online, with comments under the announcement quickly surpassing 100,000. Many expressed that this company is the most impressive one they've seen in their 32 years of life. They believe that in their remaining years, no one could surpass it. According to some sources, the company is even working on a project reminiscent of mythical tales, and the excitement among netizens was palpable. During dinner, one user saw the comments and excitement online. Some enthusiastic individuals even translated the announcement and posted screenshots on official social media accounts. Keyboard warriors rallied to elevate it to the top of trending topics. There was no response from the mentioned nation, and it remained silent. Good. This phone is really great. Much better than that bitten apple. It charges fully in 5 minutes and lasts for 2 whole days. The leader sat in his office chair, holding a floral phone. But the apps are a bit lacking. No social media, no online services. Staff member 1. Oh, staff member 2. Staff member 3. Is this your main concern? The vice president stood beside the leader, an awkward expression on his face. As you can see, the technological level of the company is absolutely far beyond ours. Once the chips from our region are out of control, the ensuing problems. To put it bluntly, the overall strength of our region will experience a significant leap. Do you have any suggestions? The leader finally put down the floral phone. Although he was somewhat reluctant to part with it, he planned to keep it for himself. He had had enough of the unreliable Apple phone that needed charging every day, sometimes even twice a day. After all, the tech department said this phone was very clean and had no backdoors. According to the intelligence department's big data analysis, the company's success is mainly due to its owner. I checked the previous work logs, and it turns out there have been 2 attempts by another company. The first was to steal the source code of the Smart Assistant, and the second was an assassination attempt. But due to personnel going missing, the mission did not proceed. So, based on comprehensive analysis, it seems that this owner may have military protection from our region. I suggest we draw them out. The leader listened attentively, nodding in agreement. As the leader of a powerful nation, it was indeed quite a challenge to plan against the head of a private enterprise. The owner casually stepped out of the temperature-controlled workshop and boarded a small electric vehicle used within the company, heading towards the office building. A staff member rushed out of the workshop just a few seconds after the owner left, grabbing a bottle of water and chugging it down in a few gulps. Then, a few more people came out of the workshop, their faces covered in grime, looking as if they were about to burst from thirst. Eagerly, they grabbed bottles and drank them down. Boss, wait, the chairman is incredible. It's 1,000 times, no, 10,000 times more amazing than what was said. Feeling a bit relieved from thirst, the staff member looked at the owner in the electric vehicle and asked, "What is going on? How can so many people be this thirsty? To understand this, we need to go back 2 days." The owner was having a meal in the cafeteria, watching the spokesperson from the region strongly support the company. The staff member, filled with urgency, burst in, recalling the advice given by a mentor: the boss could do anything. When faced with problems, whether technical or personal, the boss would always find a perfect solution. So he hurriedly rushed over, still not thinking about the smartphone. "Chairman, are you eating? Have you finished? Can you eat faster? I have something to discuss." The barrage of questions came out in a rather reckless manner. The owner didn't want to talk. He felt quite uncomfortable. This staff member had capability and responsibility, but was just too brash. He pointed at the bowl with half a bowl of rice left using chopsticks and continued to lower his head to eat. "No rush, take your time. We'll talk after you finish." After saying that, he sat down across from Dongfang, feigning indifference. While flipping through his phone, he kept glancing at Dongfang eating. However, the time spent watching Dongfang far exceeded that spent on his phone. Dongfang was not accustomed to being looked at like this by a burly man. If someone didn't know better, they might think the two were up to something. So he maintained a stern expression. "You go wait by the door for me. I'll come out once I finish eating." This brute couldn't give a good face at all. Sigh. Seeing Dongfang's displeased expression, he immediately got up and walked to the door of the small room. However, he didn't close the door, leaning against it to peek inside. Dongfang found it amusing and finished the remaining rice in a few bites before walking out of the room. "What is up? Speak. You've had a lot going on lately. The first industrial mother machine we developed is offline. You should come take a look. What's with the roosters and hens? Be clear. It's the industrial mother machine, also known as the working mother machine. We finally succeeded in the RD, and it's currently being assembled. Come check it out." Chapter 77. First Flight. Thanks to Shuang, Xianxian, Phantom F, and all the great contributors, Dongfang's mood improved a bit. This brute could still get things done. Let us go take a look. The two exited the office building and headed straight for the machinery manufacturing plant. In the assembly area of the workshop, Dongfang saw the lathe without its casing. The natural granite served as the base, and the entire lathe was spotless. There was no doubt that this was the high-precision CNC lathe. "Chairman, take a look. It just needs the casing installed. The processing accuracy can reach 0.13 microns. Definitely a high-precision CNC lathe. What you say doesn't count. Let us make a bead and see." Yes, it's that bead, but made of steel. This was no challenge for Deng Yuanji, who quickly secured the material and started the lathe. Soon, a perfectly round bead, without any visible flaws, was handed to Dongfang. Using a micrometer, it measured 28.003 mm, 1 micron 0.001 mm. "Chairman, I'll make another one. This one doesn't count." Deng Yuanji felt a bit embarrassed. This was the first time operating the machine, and he had only reached the lower limit, losing face. The second bead measured 28.005 mm, which was even worse than the first. The third bead was 28.004 mm. It seemed this machine's accuracy could only reach 3 to 5 microns. Still a level short of higher precision. "Chairman, that's not right. The accuracy wasn't like this when we tested earlier." Deng Yuanji scratched his head and handed a bearing ring to Dongfang. 68.002 mm, nice. The previous products did meet the accuracy requirements. What is going on? Deng Yuanji felt frustrated and called over several assembly workers to discuss the issue. "Master Ma, you have the most experience. Can you analyze this for us? Could it be caused by vibrations?" "It's possible." Everyone responded in agreement. "Then we'll have to disassemble it and reassemble? That'll take a long time." Deng Yuanji was somewhat reluctant. There's no other way. Master Ma was also a bit puzzled. This was taking a long time. Dongfang ignored them, putting on his gloves and carefully examining the assembly process of the machine tool. "Captain, according to the analysis, These technicians have never produced such high-precision CNC machines, and they did not leave enough allowance for vibration deformation during the assembly process. It was fine on the first startup, but once the motor runs at high speed, it will inevitably cause slight structural deformation, which is why the precision decreases. I have prepared the tolerance calculations and the assembly process for you. Just let the workers follow the standard procedure for assembly. Nova's voice echoed in his mind. Deng Yuanji also had a plan in mind as he walked back to the machine tool. Chairman, it seems this is a result of the assembly. How about you focus on something else first, and we can have you come back once we solve the problem. This blunt fellow is not being polite at all. No need to complicate things. I'll direct you all. Deng Yuanji said excitedly. A few workers looked at each other in confusion, wondering if the chairman and manager had lost their minds. Did they even know what they were doing? However, since the boss had spoken, they had to comply. But such thoughts vanished as soon as the assembly began. Dongfang directed according to the workers' installation progress. The steps were clear and straightforward. The workers just had to follow along mindlessly, as Dongfang's instructions were detailed down to how many turns each nut needed. Deng Yuanji recalled the mobile phone. He opened the recording function, positioned himself beside Dongfang, and quietly placed the device behind him. Then he put on gloves and joined in the assembly. The temperature in the climate-controlled workshop was very high, and it wasn't until everyone was drenched in sweat that the disassembled lathe was restored to its former state. Let's test it. Dongfang confidently instructed Deng Yuanji. Again, it was about turning beads, 28,001 millimeters, 280,015 millimeters. The error between the two beads was only 0.00005 mm. Perfect. It far exceeded Deng Yuanji's expectations. Did you note down the assembly procedures? Deng Yuanji nodded vigorously like a chick pecking at grain. This led to the scene where everyone stood at the workshop door shouting their excitement. In a base deep in the southwestern mountains, Lu Jiangwo stood on the control tower, watching the 20 fighter jets, which had just been fitted with new engines, roar into the sky. Finally, it's done. Lu Jiangwo's eyes reddened, tears of excitement welling up. How many years of dreams? The strongest domestically produced fighter jet finally had a powerful heart. Hao Fei was a test pilot for the Air Force. Due to his exceptional flying skills, he was selected as a pilot for the 20 fighter jet. During its maiden flight years ago, he identified numerous issues with the aircraft, which accelerated its development progress, ultimately leading to its mass production. Today, he was once again the pilot of this new fighter jet. He calmly sat in the cockpit, waiting for the speed to reach the critical flight point before gently pulling up the control stick. The 20 fighter jet took off, accelerating, climbing. Soon, it reached the designated altitude. Request for supersonic breakthrough at altitude 9,000, capable of supersonic flight. Received. A tremendous sensation of acceleration surged through. Soon, the aircraft broke the sound barrier. Status good. 2 minutes later, reduced speed. Just as Wang Tao finished speaking, the plane suddenly jolted and began to roll rapidly. The fault light for the left engine flashed continuously, and the display on the helmet visor emitted a blinding red light. However, being an experienced pilot, Wang Tao slowly adjusted the wing angles and quickly regained control of the aircraft. Nevertheless, the left engine was trailing black smoke, causing the flight to be somewhat unstable. Control tower, left engine failure, requesting return. Wang Tao's voice was steady, concise, and powerful. The aircraft's condition was critical. If it was allowed to crash, the left engine suddenly shut down. The situation was unclear, but I will attempt to restart it. The other engine is functioning well. I can complete the return mission. Lu Jiangwo's heart sank again. What was initially thought to be a flawless maiden flight suddenly faced an emergency. If they couldn't return, although there was a black box, the price to pay would be too high. He didn't want to lose a single valuable ace pilot. Wang Tao indeed faced difficulties because if the aircraft lost power at high altitude, it would plummet like a heavy object, its massive weight causing it to descend rapidly and gain speed. But he silently vowed in his heart never to eject, for the people living below and for the precious maiden flight data on board. Even at this moment, his life hung by a thread. Chapter 78. Call for help from deep in the mountains. Ground rescue. Faster, even faster. Firefighters, medical personnel, and ground crew all stand by at the runway. Once the aircraft lands, immediately commence rescue operations. We must save Wang Tao and the aircraft. Lu Jiangwo couldn't stay in the control tower any longer. After arranging everything, he moved to the runway's edge, anxiously gazing toward the sky. 8 minutes, a heart-stopping 8 minutes later, the familiar fighter jet appeared over the airport. Wang Tao gripped the control stick tightly and landed on the runway at a speed of 260 kilometers per hour. The speed brake deployed, gradually slowing down, and the fighter jet, trailing black smoke, safely came to a stop on the runway. Fire trucks, like arrows, raced to the tail of the aircraft. The black smoke was covered by white mist. Medical personnel pulled Wang Tao, who had exhausted all his energy and slumped in his seat, from the cockpit. He was urgently sent to the hospital. The fighter jet was perfectly preserved, and Wang Tao was not seriously injured. The airport erupted with exuberant cheers and shouts. "This is our soldier, the most lovable person." Lu Jiangwo stood excitedly in front of the aircraft engine removed from the fighter jet. Due to Wang Tao's repeated engine restarts during the return and the black smoke during shutdown, it had become somewhat sooty. However, none of this mattered. Researchers are continuously connecting various cables to the engine. Data flows across the computer screen and is saved. Then, the cables are removed, piece by piece, with each component being inspected individually. "Director Lu, look here," the researcher says, holding up a deformed guide vane. "And take a look here." He points to a small crack on the inner wall of the combustion chamber. The materials and precision processing are still not up to standard. Lu Jiangwo has already formed a conclusion in his mind. As they continue to disassemble and study, the issues become increasingly apparent, and Lu Jiangwo's judgment is spot on. Although they have the material composition and detailed data on various components of the engine, and skilled machinists can create complex blades and parts, human work is still human work. Even the slightest difference could lead to serious consequences. What to do now? Lu Jiangwo feels a sense of urgency. At that moment, a communication officer approaches him. "Director Lu." A call from Zhao. "Jiangwo, how did the first flight go?" Zhao's voice sounds cheerful. "What's wrong? You're not speaking?" Lu Jiangwo hesitates to speak. He has given everything without reservation, but his first flight has failed. "Zhao, there was an in-air stall, and we almost lost the aircraft. The materials and processing techniques are inadequate. I can't face you to report this." "Haha, what's the big deal? Recognizing one's shortcomings is already a good thing. Don't forget, we still have one that works, right?" "Yes, we will improve and ensure we complete the mission. However, some things are different from what one imagines. The country has always used a specific type of engine, and the production processes and design philosophies belong to two different systems. Therefore, Lu Jiangwo's experiments have been conducted, but progress is minimal. The researchers in the lab have been working day and night for a week, yet the problems remain unresolved." Lu Jiangwo sits at his desk, the pen poking the paper, but he can't write a single word. At that moment, a piece of news from the evening broadcast catches his attention. Out of the 30-minute broadcast, 2 minutes are dedicated to a local company. From chips to operating systems, to smart speakers and ball screws, industrial mother machines. Lu Jiangwo's eyes light up. Perhaps they have a solution. Su Lei, the scapegoat, appears in Dongfang's office. "Dongfang, sorry to bother you again." Behind him is a man with graying hair. If everyone were present, they would recognize this man as Lu Jiangwo. Without his military uniform, he looks like an ordinary researcher, standing behind Su Lei without any sense of incongruity. It's Brother Su. What a rare guest. Please come in." Dongfang stands up, and the three sit down. "Dongfang, I heard you can now produce high-precision CNC lathes?" "That's true. Haven't you seen the evening broadcast?" "It shouldn't be a surprise. That expression of yours is just asking for a beating. You brat, now that Brother Jinyu isn't around, no one can discipline you. By the way, I haven't seen Brother Jinyu lately. Has he returned to the capital?" Zhao Jinyu used to make calls frequently, but there hasn't been much news in the past month. Dongfang made 2 calls, and he said he was busy. When Su Lei brought it up, he casually asked, "Brother Jinyu, are you busy improving yourself lately? I guess you must be heading to the city, right?" "Oh, so I have someone in the city now? What nonsense are you talking about? Let's go check out your machinery manufacturing factory." "Stop joking." A group of people headed straight to the workshop. Deng Yuanji, the rough guy, was not there. The workers were busy testing a newly assembled horizontal machining center. Through the glass window, metal parts were spinning continuously, with a large amount of metal shavings falling. Soon, a soaring eagle appeared on the fixture of the machining center. Lu Jiangwo was excited and leaned against the glass, asking, "Is this a 7-axis 5-link machine? Wow, quite professional." Master Ma from the workshop joked, "How could it be fake? Just look at our product, and then look at the eagle's vivid feathers. Where did you get your control system?" Lu Jiangwo seemed not to have caught the teasing. "It's all developed by our software company, 100 domestically produced." Dongfang added, "We can't let the old man expose us. What about the precision? Can it reach 0.1 microns?" "The precision can reach 0.0501 microns." Dongfang was quite familiar with this machine tool. "Su Lei, report this immediately. This machining center cannot be exported. It must be included in the export ban list." "Understood." Director Lu. Su Lei also realized the difference. This could be another major breakthrough. Civilian use is also not acceptable. They don't need such a high-quality machining center. Lu Jiangwo was anxious. He picked up the phone and stepped aside to report something. "Dongfang, you've launched a major satellite again. But it's good. We came here for assistance today. However, it seems you've already solved a big problem. There's still another one. Let Director Lu tell you himself." Seeing Lu Jiangwo hang up the phone, Su Lei changed the subject and stopped talking. "Comrade Dongfang, you have solved our major problem. Your metal equipment manufacturing is outstanding. Do you have any research on materials, such as new nickel-based and cobalt-based alloys?" After solving a big problem, Lu Jiangwo felt much better and just asked casually. Dongfang was overjoyed, having been waiting for this moment. What do you think I submitted the information for? We have some results. Lu Jiangwo entered a mode of uncertainty again, saying, is there anything you can't do? A small company that started with software, in just a year, not only developed systems and intelligent assistants, but also managed to create industrial mother machines. But when did you start metal smelting research? Are you sure? Thus, Lu Jiangwo fell back into uncertainty. Dongfang smiled at him. Why not go see the materials laboratory? Our research and development work has basically been completed, and the equipment and processes for standardized production are all ready to be put into factory production. Lu Hao was a third-year student in the materials department at Tsinghua University. According to the collaboration agreement between the school and the environmental company, the internship location for junior students was set at the company's materials laboratory. Therefore, he and his classmates have been at the company for almost 2 weeks. He is deeply impressed by the company. In just a short span of 2 weeks, he has witnessed breakthroughs in 3 world-class materials technologies: titanium alloys, new nickel-based, and cobalt-based alloys. He understands that these materials are essential for manufacturing the so-called crown jewel of modern industry: aircraft engines, steam turbine fan blades, and turbine blades. More importantly, a research team that had been stuck on the material ratios quickly finalized the formula after the chairman's arrival. The properties of the produced alloys are outstanding. Sure enough, just a few days later, the equipment manufacturing plant delivered the blades with superior performance and stable quality. The cheers in the laboratory could almost break through the roof and soar into the clouds. As a result, he has devoted more time to his professional studies. He doesn't plan to pursue further studies after graduation. Ideally, he hopes to work in the laboratory of the environmental company. Many of his classmates share the same thoughts. Today, he was about to check the construction process of the vacuum smelting furnace at the smelting plant when he spotted the chairman approaching the experimental building with a few people from a distance. This made him less eager to leave. Pretending to have forgotten something, he turned back to the laboratory. In fact, he only took a document out of his pocket and hid behind the door. The chairman and his group entered the laboratory. A greeting rang in his ears. Hello, chairman. Turning around, the chairman seemed to recognize a researcher from the metal smelting materials lab. Due to the company's continuous expansion, many new faces have appeared, along with the interns. Even with his strong memory, it's impossible to remember everyone. Just having a vague impression is already impressive. By the way, if you're free, call Wang Chun to the second-floor metal lab. Got it. Seeing the young man sprint away, the chairman nodded slightly. This young man is good, waiting at the door early, taking the initiative to create opportunities to show himself. Although it's unclear how he performs academically, he seems to be a capable person. As the laser scanned the chairman, the glass door of the laboratory opened. Lu Jiangwo couldn't wait to rush in, especially since he had just seen the blades through the glass door. Various blades, some large, some small, radiating a lovely metallic luster. Lu Jiangwo knew these were large gas turbine blades, for large ship steam turbines, and aircraft engine fan blades, definitely turbine blades. He leaned in front of the turbine blades, carefully putting on gloves to gently touch them. His movements were very small, as if afraid of damaging these metal blades. Can I see the performance evaluation report? Of course. Wang Chun has entered the lab. Chairman, you're here. Let me introduce it to you. The performance evaluation report is a bit long. Lu Hao, being quite bold, handed a stack of documents to Lu Jiangwo. Without waiting for a response, he began to explain the geometric shape and dimensions of the blades, crack defect detection, fatigue strength, high temperature resistance, and so on. Skipping over the detection processes in the report, he directly stated the most critical technical parameters. Lu Jiangwo couldn't help but be influenced by Wang Tao. Wherever that guy introduced something, he flipped to the corresponding section of the report. Lu Jiangwo put down the report in his hand, firmly believing that the blades capable of operating normally at 2,100 high temperatures were exactly what he needed. If there were also 5-axis 7-link machining centers, then our aircraft. Lu couldn't bear to watch any longer, seeing the old man's flushed face. He was clearly getting too excited. Oh, what's wrong, Director Su? Everyone is waiting for you. We've all finished reading. Do you have any opinions? Lu Jiangwo finally snapped back to reality. Comrade Dongfang, may I ask about your smelting preparation methods and processes? And how much the 5-axis 7-link machining centers are sold for? When did I say I was selling them? Su Lei, Lu Jiangwo, Wang Chun, and Lu Hao. Since you're not selling, why are you showing us off? Dongfang, what's going on? Su Lei was somewhat angry. The state has provided such strong support for the company, and you repay it with this attitude? Brother Su, don't be anxious. Let me explain slowly. Dongfang appeared very calm. First, the 5-axis 7-link machining center you see is our first prototype. Although the machining precision meets the requirements, it is very unstable and cannot be sold at all. Second, the metal smelting formula is the guarantee for our company's survival, a closely guarded secret, and absolutely cannot be sold. However, we can provide finished products. Dongfang blinked innocently. And importantly, his reasons were quite sufficient. We'll use it ourselves. We definitely won't leak it out. Just name a price, and I'll apply. Lu Jiangwo was anxious, as the smelting formula was what he needed most. He could actually obtain the high-precision machining center through other means. The embargo agreement, after decades, was no longer as solid as a steel barrel. Heh, do you really believe that? Lu Jiangwo fell silent. There was no shortage of those so-called leaders with their heads filled with nonsense everywhere. He was getting older. While he could ensure things were stable while in office, what if he stepped down? Could he still confidently say what he just said? You make a valid point. I will report the situation to old Zhao. Can the alloy output be guaranteed? Su Lei nodded and took the initiative to speak, fully agreeing with Dongfang. Moreover, he believed that with old Zhao's character, he would never do something that would harm the company in the long run. The smelting plant would be completed soon, so there was no need to worry about output. Those coming to buy products were wholeheartedly welcomed by Dongfang. After the successful development of the 5-axis 7-link, we want to prioritize selling it for our use. At the same time, I request that you absolutely do not sell it abroad. Do not sell it to other companies. Lu Jiangwo was still not giving up. Why not? I can understand it not being sold abroad, but why not for civilian use? Dongfang was puzzled. Such high-precision machining centers are generally not needed by regular enterprises. There are always enterprises that need them. We also need to survive. No is no. Lu Jiangwo was getting impatient. For the nation, he was willing to sacrifice everything. Even if everyone criticized him harshly, he remained steadfast. We can choose not to sell, but I have a condition. Dongfang smiled as he looked at Su Lei. Chapter 80. Graphene Bulletproof Vest. Thanks to Jing Bing, who loves lead-free century eggs, and user 111100802. You see, as long as it doesn't violate principles, I can report it to my superiors. Without even looking at Su Lei, who was signaling him, Lu Jiangwo readily agreed. I heard that private enterprises can also produce military products. Can you help with the qualification? Dongfang was waiting for this question. Do you know the requirements for producing military products? Su Lei chuckled. This guy wasn't afraid of anything. I don't know, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you to. I'll handle it directly. Lu Jiangwo was pretending to continue playing dumb. Su Lei didn't even want to look at him. Let me tell you. Lu Jiangwo was familiar with this matter. His research institute had a private enterprise supplying parts for fighter jets. You need to understand, unlike providing raw materials, first, you must have outstanding products. Then, you need 4 certificates. What are these 4 or 5 certificates? I can just collaborate with your unit. It doesn't need to be so complicated, Dongfang said innocently. It's not what I want. It's a requirement from the nation. Don't change the subject. The 4 certificates are, with the continuous development of private enterprises in our country, the government has actually relaxed the regulations on private enterprises producing military products. Many products from private enterprises are of better quality and lower prices than those from military enterprises, so the military will also procure them. But the prerequisite is that the products must be exceptional, and you need to obtain Military Standard Quality Management System Certification, Confidentiality Qualification Certification, Qualification Certification for Weapon Equipment Manufacturing Units, and Weapon Equipment Research and Production Qualification Certification. Especially the last 2 items require approval from the highest management authority of the military before a company can produce military products. Therefore, the difficulty is very high. Director Lu, you can definitely help our company with this, right? Lu Jiangwo was cursing in his heart. Was it my explanation that wasn't clear, or was your understanding off? No, I can't do it. In that case, forget it. I'll see you 2 out, Brother Su. We can cooperate next time. This guy, as soon as he saw the negotiation wasn't going well, immediately wanted to kick them out. That's not impossible. Su Lei pondered for a moment. I can report to Zhao Lao, but do you have products? Dongfang scratched his head and thought carefully. Oh no, it seems I don't have any products. Haha, yes. Yes. Graphene bulletproof vests, high-precision sniper rifle design blueprints, and of course, if you agree, we can also produce one. Also, there's that battlefield heavy load assistance carrying robot. The robotic dog you've heard of. Dongfang was not nervous at all and boasted vigorously, especially when he mentioned a robotic dog. He winked at Su Lei. Don't be too cocky. The robotic dog is quite useful. Su Lei was disgusted by this guy's expression. However, he hadn't seen the first 2 products. But he had heard from his comrades that the robotic dog was quite reliable, durable, and had a very low failure rate. All right, you prepare first. I'll come back in a few days. What about the processing center and alloy ingots? Lu Jiangwo saw that the discussion was almost over and quickly interjected. You're mistaken. No problem. Once the machining center is finalized, we'll provide you with 3 units at a price of 5 million each, with a 3-year warranty. The price for the alloy will definitely be cheaper, at 200,000 per ton. How does that sound? Sounds good. Lu Jiangwo quickly agreed. The price and precision are quite reasonable. It's important to note that abroad, a 5-axis 5-link machining center with a single pendulum milling head costs between 300,000 to 600,000 or even higher. What's more critical is that they used to not sell to us at all, even if we had the money. Even now, although restrictions have eased. Every machining center will be equipped with GPS positioning to limit its usage, and military applications are absolutely prohibited. Foreign companies regularly check what the equipment is being used for. And if it's for military purposes, well, sorry. They can remotely lock the control system, turning it into a large metal ornament. So, Lu Jiangwo certainly had no objections. Downstairs in the lab, Dongfang and Wang Chun had just seen off their guests. Wang Chun still couldn't get used to calling him boss. Do we have graphene bulletproof vests? I had no idea, and I've never worked on that. And what about that high-precision sniper rifle you mentioned? Isn't it available now? Dongfang had his hands behind his back, preparing to return to RD. Sure. What's his name? Dongfang pointed to Wang Tao, who was following behind. Oh, his name is Wang Tao, a junior student from Jinghua University here for an internship. This kid is quite resourceful and has solid professional knowledge. Wang Chun praised his junior without hesitation. Oh, I thought he was one of our new researchers. Ask him if he'd like to join our company after graduation. Sure. The two returned to the inorganic materials lab on the third floor, ready to start developing the graphene bulletproof vest. Wang Chun sat down at the computer and began his modeling journey. Having never thought about how to make a bulletproof vest from graphene, he fell into deep thought. 2 hours later, he had only typed out one line, mathematical model for graphene bulletproof vest. He couldn't proceed any further. Just as he was scratching his head, trying to figure it out, Dongfang's voice came through. Wang Chun, come take a look. This model should be about ready. Okay. Wang Chun walked a few steps to stand behind Dongfang and peered at the computer screen. So beautiful, was his first impression. Diamond, was his second thought. How did I not realize that graphene and diamonds are composed of the same element, carbon? His boss truly was a genius. He had arranged tiny tubular graphene into a honeycomb structure, forming a regular tetrahedron with equal sides that had the same stability as diamonds. Do you have any comments? None. Wang Chun replied awkwardly. With my level, I'm just here to assist you. How could I have any opinions? All right, then let us give it a try. Dongfang nodded in satisfaction. This time, there was no help from Nova. The graphite was fed into the equipment, and the plasma spray gun emitted a foam-like substance. Dongfang tested the weight. It was very light. He pulled at it with force. The material was extremely hard. It's simply not something that can be broken by human strength. The spray gun has stopped working. Wang Chun stepped forward and took out a foam-like object. Boss, let me conduct a performance test. Soon. The sound of Wang Chun gasping in amazement could be heard. Boss, this is incredible. Its strength is 207 times greater than that of steel of the same weight. An area of 64,516 square millimeters can withstand an external impact of 6,577,089, 365 kilograms. This means if it's made into a diving suit, I could dive into the Mariana Trench. You're amazing, boss. Dongfang frowned. This won't do. What if someone really makes a diving suit out of it? The underwater base's performance would be excellent, but this foam doesn't meet the requirements for body armor. Let me think. Right. Wang Chun was also drawn into the discussion. How can we reduce part of its performance and change its form so that it can be directly used for body armor? Dongfang fell into deep thought. Chapter 81. The first solution, thanks to the bookworm, Kamaiko, for their support. How can we reduce part of its performance while having characteristics similar to fabric, yet still close to the current technological level of Blue Star? Eureka! Dongfang thought of the scales of a pangolin. Pangolin scales are extremely special. They have self-repairing capabilities. After being deformed from a strong impact, as long as they are soaked in water, they quickly return to their original shape. Thinking of this, Dongfang visualized the unique structure of pangolin scales in his mind. His hands moved quickly, inputting line after line of data. The software automatically generated a model identical to that of pangolin scales. He adjusted the distribution of the micrographene tubes. Soon, Dongfang completed the design plan. Wang Chun stood behind Dongfang, dumbfounded, silently telling himself that Dongfang was human, not a god. Why was he so different from others? Others took 6 months to a year to develop a new product, often without any results, but for Dongfang, it felt like solving a simple algebra equation. Stop dawdling. Let us try making one. Wang Chun got to work, placing the synthetic resin board at the nozzle. As the plasma spray gun moved, a layer of black film covered the resin board. He gently touched it. It feels nice, quite smooth, not like scales at all. Quick. Let us test its performance. Stop touching it. Dongfang waved his hand, unable to bear seeing Wang Chun groping the resin board like a fool. It wouldn't he break from touching, he thought, as he walked over to the instrument and gave it a firm touch before placing it inside. Smooth and comfortable. Not bad. Its strength is 60 times greater than that of steel of the same weight. It can withstand 200 kilograms of external impact per square millimeter. After the impact, its shape quickly spreads under pressure, dispersing the kinetic energy of the impact, and the resin board shows no damage at all. Boss, if I wear this, I could withstand a 127mm anti-material weapon. Not bad. Let's finalize this plan and have you produce some. Understood. By the way, let's add another layer of silicone to the lining. I want them to experience comfort. Alright, you get back to your work. I'll take a trip to the machinery manufacturing plant. Deng Yuanji has been really excited these days. The first 5-axis 7-linkage machining center has successfully taken shape with the help of the boss. Clearly, the eastern side hadn't told a single truth before. The prototype runs smoothly, and its performance is outstanding. So, after finishing his current tasks, he dove right into the workshop, eager to try out their high-end product. Just as he was holding the fully restored Bumblebee model that he had personally processed, someone tapped him on the shoulder. These kids are getting more and more disrespectful. Do they think they can just tap the manager's shoulder? And didn't they see that I'm driving here? He angrily turned around, ready to teach the kid a lesson. Boss, hey, wanna play? It's really fun. Brute, do you think I'm the kind of person who plays with this? The eastern side casually took the car model and fiddled with it a bit. Oh, not bad. This door can open too. The feel is pretty good. It's still warm. Fun, right? A big face leaned in closer. It's alright, he said, shoving the car model into Deng Yuanji's hands. Can you make guns? The eastern side skillfully changed the topic. Is it a red tassel gun? That's simple. We don't even have a red tassel in our workshop. It doesn't look good. Brute is just a brute, with such a carefree way of thinking. The eastern side almost lost his balance and fell on the smooth workshop floor. Guns. Handguns. Rifles. I can shoot. Just not make them. At your age, forget it. Pick a few skilled masters and follow me. The eastern side pulled out a stack of blueprints. It was freshly printed and still warm. Master Ma was the first to be chosen. How could there be any doubts? Watch my lightning-fast skills. There were 4 others with serious expressions, looking quite capable. Boss lathe, milling, forging, grinding, pliers, 1 of each, all skilled. Indeed, these 5 were all technical experts. Precision forging, turning, milling, wire cutting, and dozens of processes flowed smoothly. Parts appeared one by one on the workbench in the middle, until Master Ma brought over the most important part, the gun barrel. A total of 56 components. Boss, we can't assemble it either? Should we call a special police officer to teach us? Deng Yuanji's big face leaned in again. Can you please be quiet for a bit? The eastern side couldn't help but curse. I can assemble it. Haha, I knew you could do it, boss. Just wait. The eastern side pushed away the big face that was crowding in front of him. What is so difficult about this? Just follow the installation video playing in my mind, step by step. The barrel, firing pin, spring, hammer, sleeve base, trigger, cheek rest, Picatinny rail magazine. A brand new sniper rifle appeared in the hands of the eastern side. Overall length, 1,100mm barrel length, 610mm empty weight, excluding bipod 65 kilograms muzzle velocity, 800 magazine capacity, 10 rounds effective range, 600 usable ammunition, 62mm. It seems to lack an optical sight, which makes it feel a bit incomplete, but that can't overshadow its handsome appearance. Boss, let me have a touch. Deng Yuanji is practically drooling. There's no man who doesn't like firearms. Just look at those who are staring intently at Deng Yuanji. You go first. After you're done, we'll take turns. This feels a bit strange. After all, this is something everyone made with their own hands. Dongfang handed over the gun. Deng Yuanji, being the rough guy he is, took it without hesitation, touching and smelling it. He even rested the gun on his shoulder, making bayu sounds, showing no intention of handing it over to anyone else. Just a touch. Master Ma can't wait anymore. With a swift move, he pushed Deng Yuanji aside and grabbed the rifle. He repeated Deng Yuanji's actions. A crowd gathered around, and old Ma, outnumbered, eventually surrendered the sniper rifle. It wasn't until the last person finished playing with it that Dongfang reclaimed the rifle, set it up with the bipod, and placed it on the workbench. Boss, if only we had bullets. We could try a few shots. Deng Yuanji is really bold with his thoughts. Get out of the way. If you want to go in, you can go by yourself. I don't have time to accompany you. Once a person starts cursing, it becomes addictive. If they don't let out a few words, it feels like something is missing. I'll take the gun. You keep the blueprints safe. Dongfang thought to himself, you can't shoot, but I can. That assassin from the previous incident left me half a pouch of bullets. I need to try it out first. Otherwise, when people come to check the equipment, they want to know how accurate it is. That want to do. Nova, take the black briefcase to the marked location. Dongfang marked a red dot on the mental map. As you wish, Captain. Nova vanished from his mind. Dongfang ascended to the rooftop and disappeared. Amidst the vast mountains of the Lus Plateau, voices suddenly emerged. Deactivate optical camouflage system. Blue light rippled and vanished, revealing 3 shadowy figures at the edge of the trees on the mountaintop. It was Dongfang with a sniper rifle and 2 bionic robots. Captain, it will arrive in 5 minutes. Go. Set up the target on the opposite mountaintop and activate the high-frequency smart silencing wave. The two burly men's eyes flashed red as they leaped from the mountaintop, racing toward the opposite peak. In less than 5 minutes, a bionic robot descended from the sky, placing a black briefcase at Dongfang's feet. The contents of the bag looked just as they did when Dongfang saw them that night. For such low-end weapons, Nova had no interest in checking them. If it weren't for Dongfang's liking, it wouldn't have been preserved. Opening the barrel, Dongfang saw a white light scope and neatly arranged bullets. Orient installed the scope onto the Picatinny rail with some difficulty, then loaded the bullets one by one into the chamber. Under the guidance of the bionic robot, he pulled the trigger for the first time. The sniper rifle jolted, and the bullet soared out, sending a spray of dirt up from below the target on the opposite hill. Damn it, I missed. Your Excellency, no matter how high precision a sniper rifle is, its bullet trajectory follows a parabolic path. As long as you calculate the impact point correctly, you'll find that shooting is actually quite simple. Of course, you also need to consider environmental factors, such as wind speed, the robot whispered in his ear. Nodding, Orient pressed his eye against the scope again. His mind raced, processing the shooting parameters. Northwest wind at level 2, the bionic robot stated. Now, Orient pulled the trigger for the second time. It hit the bullseye. He chambered a third bullet. The hole in the center of the target slightly expanded. His strong physical condition made the recoil insignificant to him, continuously cycling the bolt. He deliberately controlled the target, reducing it to a mess. Looking at the scattered shell casings around him, Orient paused shooting. How's the shooting accuracy? Your Excellency, the shooting position is 300 meters from the target. After multiple measurements, the impact point can be contained within a spread of no more than 2 centimeters. So, at a distance of 300 meters, 3 shots will be within a 2 centimeters range? Yes, Your Excellency. That's impressive. Excluding anti-material sniper rifles, the highest precision sniper rifle in the country has a spread of only 29 centimeters at 100 meters. If the distance increases to 300 meters, the spread quickly enlarges to 87 centimeters. At 500 meters, it can only achieve 174 centimeters. Orient happily put away the rifle, realizing this was just the first one. As the proficiency of the masters increased, this accuracy could improve further. Bulletproof vests, sniper rifles, and mechanical dogs were all sorted out. Old Zhao, that's how it went down. In a small courtyard in the coastal region of the country, Su Lei reported the details of the visit from the company. Old Zhao remained silent. He wasn't familiar with the requirements for civilian enterprises producing military products and found it hard to grasp so many details. Weren't there documents issued a few years ago? Bring them to me. Su Lei had prepared for this and immediately handed over the documents. Old Zhao pulled out his reading glasses and sat at the table, meticulously reading through each word. His hand unconsciously tapped on the table. The quality of the products from the company was unquestionable, with positive feedback from various military districts, especially the graphene batteries, which were favored by many soldiers. For such an excellent civilian enterprise, we should actively cultivate them. Special cases can be handled specially. We shouldn't be bound by rigid rules without considering the circumstances of the enterprise. Go around to various departments and let everyone see for themselves. We need to take a closer look. Yes. Just 3 days after the shooting test ended, Orient received a call from Su Lei. Have you prepared the bulletproof vests and sniper rifles? Su Gu, I can still convince you. Feel free to come and take a look anytime. Dongfang slumped in his chair, full of confidence. All right, tomorrow morning, let's gather a group. What? Coming tomorrow? Can I still convince you? Su Lei echoed. The next day, colorful flags were everywhere at the company. A banner was hung at the entrance welcoming the higher-ups to the company. Of course, the administrative head Wang Tao Wuden mentioned that it was used for welcoming some Leader-S inspection last time. The heads and management of all subsidiaries of the company, dressed in specially tailored Zhongshan suits, stood in front of the building in neat rows. 5 business vehicles lined up and steadily stopped at the entrance. The prepared staff stepped forward and opened the car doors. Su Lei led a large team of 23 people, getting out one by one. Welcome, welcome. Dongfang flashed a bright smile. After going upstairs and settling in the conference room, Gao Yuan turned on the projector. Bulletproof vests, sniper rifles, drones. Robotic dogs were introduced one by one. The stunning data truly shocked the visitors. However, someone raised a concern. Where did you get the bullets? Have the sniper rifles been tested? No. As a private enterprise, we don't have bullets. All these data are simulated in our software. The authenticity is reliable. Dongfang took over the conversation. Then I have no further questions. Director Su brought bullets today. Let us check it out on site. They were on a mission and didn't want to waste time. Dongfang naturally had nothing to fear. After all, the quality of the product cannot be exaggerated. 5 brand new sniper rifles were placed at the shooting range that Dongfang had just set up. Dongfang, this place isn't great, Su Lei frowned. Didn't we say we were coming? No one said to prepare in advance. Laying a carpet on the ground and placing 2 sandbags would have sufficed. It felt a bit too perfunctory. Not wanting to say it outright, Su Lei opened the box he had been holding and laid out boxes of bullets on the table. Dongfang finally understood why Su Lei hadn't put down the box since getting out of the car. As long as it works, it's fine. We are a private enterprise. What do we need a shooting range for? That's true. If we really set up a shooting range, it would be a waste. If we really get the qualifications, it's not too late to build one then. Anyway, this guy has plenty of money. Su Lei pulled back the bolt. A bullet was chambered. Taking a deep breath, he licked his finger and raised it. Not bad. Level 1 southeast wind. Brother Su, there's a wind speed meter here. Dongfang leaned in. Su Lei was frustrated and took the wind speed meter. Realizing it was quite similar to what his finger had detected, he adjusted the white light scope and pulled the trigger. A loud bang echoed. It hit the target's red center perfectly. 10 ring. The target scorer announced loudly. After firing 2 shots, both were 10 rings. The feel was truly great. Su Lei fell in love with the sniper rifle marked with DH-01. Whether it was the recoil, the length, or the angle of the cheek rest, everything was incredibly comfortable. The dispersion range was about 1 centimeter. The measurements reported by the people Su Lei brought excited the crowd. A few individuals stepped forward. One of them picked up a rifle and lay down in the shooting position. Judging by the posture, they must be an experienced shooter. The sound of bang bang, bang echoed above the company premises. Although they may not have Su Lei's shooting skills, the dispersion range was controlled within 12 to 13 centimeters. Soon, the ammunition brought by Su Lei was exhausted. The results were clear. It passed all testers' evaluations perfectly. As for the bulletproof vests, they were soft, comfortable, and highly effective. The drones and robotic dogs were even more impressive, and with the assistance of the Smart Assistant, users could have a lot of fun with them. These individuals arrived quickly and left just as fast. After completing the tests, they immediately formed a group to leave, having their dinner on the plane. Chairman, after our efforts over this period, the establishment of the subsidiary has been completed, with all personnel in place and operations running smoothly. Gao Yuan followed closely behind Dongfang. Reporting on recent work. What has Zhang Chong been busy with lately? I saw him hurriedly this morning, and he rushed off right after the event. Dongfang was aware of the situation at the biopharmaceutical company. For someone who knows nothing about the biopharmaceutical field, suddenly taking charge of a biopharmaceutical company is undoubtedly challenging. He seems to be busy learning lately, claiming that he knows nothing and doesn't want to disappoint your recognition. Forget it. Have him come to my office. Okay, I'll have Wang Tao notify him. Without further conversation, the two returned to the office building. Perhaps due to their slow pace, just as Dongfang settled into his office chair, Zhang Chong knocked and entered. Boss, you called for me? You just came out of the lab? Dongfang asked, noticing Zhang Chong still wearing a lab coat. Yes. I don't know anything, so I can only learn from the researchers. I need to get into the role quickly. I can't let you down. I didn't call you for anything specific. I just wanted to ask how your recent work is going. Dongfang was curious about the biopharmaceutical subsidiary, which had been slow to make progress. Boss, now I really don't know what I should be doing. Please give me some guidance. Zhang Chong was being straightforward. There was no need for him to hold back with his boss. Have you considered imitation? Imitating drugs? He had thought about it. Especially when his mother was sick and he couldn't forget the expensive targeted medication. Haha, don't worry. Dongfang handed him a stack of documents. Take this back and start with imitation. Zhang Chong looked down and saw it was about the preparation methods for targeted drugs for squamous lung cancer. Yes, boss. I'll get to work. Zhang Chong, excited, turned and ran off. In less than 5 days, Dongfang received a package. It was sent by Su Lei. The staff did not dare to open it and directly handed it over to Dongfang. The Military Standard Quality Management System Certification, Confidentiality Qualification Certification, Weaponry Manufacturing Unit Qualification Certification, and Weaponry Research and Production Licensing were read out one by Dongfang. These are the coveted 4 military industrial certificates, freshly issued and still warm. Haha, Dongfang was delighted. What should be developed next? Special vehicles? Tanks? Armed helicopters? Engines? Transmissions? Then build cars. This is a pain point for the whole nation. Without hesitation, Dongfang glanced at the funds in his account, which had steadily broken through 10 billion. What can't be done? Yuan Gu, come to my office. Dongfang hung up the phone and started planning in his mind. Currently, the company still does not have the qualification for automobile production. But regarding those technologies, he had no fear at all. The best and fastest way is to buy a struggling automobile company. Nashajia. Dongfang thought of the name. The one that even billionaires hesitate to accelerate. Just then, Gao Yuan walked in. Yuan Gu, come and draft a merger proposal. A merger proposal? Which company? Gao Yuan was puzzled. Nasha Jia Automobile, have you heard of it? I have heard of it. It's said to be a particularly impressive joint venture. What do we want with that company? Chairman, think twice. Gao Yuan almost spat his tea on the desk. Why would they want such a poor automobile manufacturer? Do they want to be ridiculed by the whole nation? No, Dongfang must have his eyes on the qualifications of this company. After all, the company still doesn't have. Dongfang shook his head, What I want is the automobile production qualification. Your imagination is quite impressive, just like when you were a kid. No problem. That aligns with my judgment. I'll prepare an investigation report first. The upper limit price will need your approval. While they were talking, Dongfang's secretary knocked and entered. Chairman, I have received an invitation to the World Artificial Intelligence Conference. After saying this, the tall and beautiful secretary, who was about 17 meters tall, placed a red-covered invitation with lines of code on Dongfang's desk. Dear Mr. Dongfang, we plan to hold the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Tokyo on November 1st, 2021. Your knowledge and achievements are admirable, so we sincerely invite you to attend. Venue, Mandarin Oriental Hotel, Tokyo. Date, October 24th, 2021. Organized by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. Dongfang frowned. Originally, the World Artificial Intelligence Conference was supposed to be held in the magic city of his country. How come it was organized by them? Moreover, they specifically invited him. Should he go or not? In the palace of the flag state, Bai Deng was sitting in his office playing with his phone. Your Excellency, the company has received the invitation letter, and the 171 encirclement plan has officially started. The vice president walked in. The bait has been thrown out. Whether it bites or not is not something we can decide. Bai Deng tapped on the desk and put down his beloved phone. These two old fellows. Chapter 84. Attending the meeting, thanks to Hong Hao, who loves crispy and tender meat, with aspirations for immortality, the phone rang, and Dongfang picked it up. It turned out to be Zhao Jinyu. It had been a while since they last contacted each other. Brother Yu, what made you think of me all of a sudden? You're quite the busy person. Zhao Jinyu chuckled, explaining that he had been busy with personal matters and had recently been reassigned to work in Yan'an City. His new position was a deputy role, overseeing the economy and information technology industries. I heard from the director of the management committee that you received an invitation letter? Dongfang glanced at the invitation letter in his hand, frowning slightly. Yes, that's true. How did you know about it, brother Yu? The invitation was sent to you through the management committee. What are your thoughts? Dongfang understood that the director likely leaked the information to showcase himself. I don't have any thoughts. Those people can't have good intentions. I'm not planning to go. I was thinking the same. This call is just to remind you. Zhao Jinyu nodded, feeling reassured that Dongfang was aware of the situation. You decide whether to go or not. If you do, I'll inform my grandfather to send someone to protect you. He hung up. I've got a lot on my plate. Dongfang turned to his secretary and said, Go decline the invitation. Just say I have something else to attend to. Got it, the secretary replied, heading out with a determined stride. The phone rang again. Mom, what made you think of calling me? Dongfang answered immediately upon seeing it was his mother. What? Can I call you? A familiar voice came through the receiver. Of course. Call whenever you want. Fonger, Mom won the grand prize today. A 7-day free trip for 2. Didn't expect buying an outfit would lead to this good fortune. I want to go with your dad. We've been married for so long, always busy making money, and haven't traveled yet. Dongfang frowned more today than any other day. These people are relentless. If they can't get to him, they go after his parents. If they fail again, they might even reach out to his grandmother. Dongfang felt angry. Did they think he was an ordinary person? Mom, if you want to go, then go. Didn't I give you a bank card? Use it freely. That's true. Your dad and I have been busy for this family our whole lives and have never enjoyed life. Mom, you have enough. Your dad and I don't lack that little bit of money from the lamb shop. Dongfang hadn't told his parents about the company's situation. At first, he didn't dare to mention it, fearing they would think he wasn't studying well. Later, as the company grew, he didn't know how to explain it. Afraid they might think he was deceiving them. After all, he had never given any interviews. Don't worry about it. With my learning ability, you two don't need to worry about buying a house or getting married. All right, focus on your classes. Just wanted to let you know, bye. His mother quickly hung up, busy packing and unsure about the weather, wondering what clothes to bring. Dongfang hung up the phone. Yuan Ge. You should go prepare the investigation and analysis report first, and we can discuss it later. By the way, tell Wang Jiejia that the invitation has been accepted, and she can go apply for her passport. Okay, Gao Yuan replied as he left the room. Dongfang summoned Nova. Nova, send a 5-person team to my parents' side. With me as the primary target. It should be safe there. Understood, Captain. You actually don't need to worry. I've prepared a nano-powered mech briefcase for you, so you can suit up anytime, anywhere. Also, your belt is equipped with a mini-energy shield. As long as it's not a large-scale weapon, you'll have enough time to suit up if hit from the front. All right, let's deal with these little brats. It was a trip filled with confusion. This was how Dongfang's parents felt after boarding the plane. Since it was a prize, there was certainly no business class. But in economy class, couldn't it be a bit more normal? Why were there 5 men in black suits and sunglasses surrounding them? 1 on the right, 2 in front and back. And the left side was the window, forming a perfect encirclement. You guys really know how to buy tickets. Young man, you must be together, right? How about my husband and I switch seats with you so you can sit together? No need, we're not together, replied the expressionless number 1, the biorobot. Are you kidding? You're all dressed the same. Even the briefcases are identical. How can you say you're not together? Dongfang's mother was quite frustrated. Dong Yin tugged at his wife's hand. Let it be, let it be. However, soon Dongfang's mother completely forgot about the 5 men. After the plane entered the cruising altitude, the view outside the window captivated her. Big fluffy clouds formed various shapes, shining white and tinted with gold by the sunlight. The sky was a brilliant blue, nothing like the grayish skies of West Coast City. She particularly liked it, even becoming enchanted by it. For hours later, the plane landed at Narita Airport in Tokyo. My neck is so tired. Even the most beautiful scenery can become tiresome, especially a monotonous sky. After eating the in-flight meal, Dongfang's mother fell asleep. When she opened her eyes again, the plane had already landed. Hey, young man, move aside. Seeing number 1 sitting there motionless, Dong Yin spoke up. The 5 of them stood up together, walking into the aisle, 3 in front and 2 behind, sandwiching Dongfang's parents in the middle. What is going on? Don't block the way. Dongfang's mother took her small bag from the overhead compartment. Okay, number 1 replied, but the 5 still stood there motionless. Forget it. Let us go, Dong Yin said good-naturedly. Besides, they were abroad, so he didn't want to cause any trouble. He planned to pull his wife around them. Unexpectedly, as soon as they took a step, it seemed like they had planned it in advance. The 5 men stepped forward simultaneously. Dongfang's mother held back her annoyance. It seemed they really weren't blocking the way. Once off the plane, the 5 men changed their formation again. Number 1 walked in front, with 1 person on each side, surrounding the couple in the middle. Her grandmother's leg. Are you guys never done? Let's rewind to 4.5 hours ago, when Dongfang was in the airport waiting hall, watching his parents board the plane. Nova must have 24-hour close protection. Not a single mistake can occur. As you wish, Captain. This led to the scene his parents encountered later. Then let's set off too. Dongfang waved his hand, and the 3 people in the chairman's office immediately stood up from their seats. They picked up their luggage and followed Dongfang. Here I come, little rascals. Chapter 85 Surprise? Thanks to 978711189, 3 stones? Lonely. At Narita Airport in Tokyo, Dongfang and others got off the plane. Just an hour ago, Dongfang's parents had called the police here to get 5 large men to back off a bit. After all, they hadn't done anything wrong. Just gotten a bit too close. At the exit, someone was holding a sign with a line of Chinese characters. Mr. Dongfang from the Ground Ring Company. The person holding the sign was blocked by the moving heads of the crowd. Only a pair of delicate little hands could be seen. Dongfang walked over. It was definitely a young lady. From the side, her figure was quite good, wearing a black uniform skirt, with curves in all the right places. And her looks were at least above 90 points. At that moment, she was looking into the crowd, and because she was a bit short, she was tiptoeing and peeking around, her long black hair cascading in waves with her head movements. Hello, are you here to pick me up? Dongfang stopped beside her. The girl seemed startled, her shoulders twitching, and she turned her head. She had air bangs, her black hair draped over her shoulders, and her small, fair face had a hint of baby fat, with 2 round, big eyes staring straight at Dongfang. It seemed the shock from just now hadn't worn off yet. 95 points at least, Dongfang rated her in his mind. What did you say? Her voice was as crisp as a bird's. I said I'm Dongfang. Are you here to pick me up? The girl's face immediately flushed with embarrassment. Yes, I'm Zhao Qing, Zhao Jinyue's sister. Nice to meet you. She said this and generously extended her hand to shake with Dongfang. My brother asked me to pick you up. That busy guy didn't even send me a photo of you, just told me the flight time, so I could only think of this way to find you. So this is the surprise Zhao Jinyu mentioned, sending his own sister. But it is indeed a bit surprising. Hello, thank you for coming to pick me up. It's my first time in this country, and I'm not familiar with the area, so I really didn't know how to get to the hotel. No problem. I drove here, I'll take you there. So you are Dongfang, the genius my brother praises as rare in the heavens and hard to find on earth. After saying that, she circled around Dongfang a few times. Isn't there anything special? Just a bit taller, a bit more handsome, and younger. No. I need to get to know you better. It's too early to make a conclusion now. The girl's face turned even redder, embarrassed by her bold thoughts. TSK, what am I thinking? What are you thinking about? Do you want some water? Dongfang smoothly transitioned from a straightforward guy to a steel-straight man. Nothing much, let's go. After saying that, she turned and walked over to the trash can, tossing the makeshift sign into it. Zhao Qing had arrived in a white commercial vehicle, decorated with numerous anime characters, which was in stark contrast to her formal attire. Oh, you like Luffy too? Dongfang noticed the iconic big mouth. Yeah, he's my favorite. I will become the Pirate King. After saying this, Zhao Qing even mimicked a gesture. Seeing Dongfang and the others staring in shock, her face flushed again, much redder than the last time. After managing to calm her emotions, Zhao Qing asked, Are we going to the Oriental Hotel in Tokyo? I remember the conference is being held there. Yes, are you familiar with it? Dongfang resumed his cool demeanor. Of course. By the way, how old are you this year, Dongfang? When a woman shows curiosity about a man, it usually means she might be falling for him. During the more than an hour's drive, Zhao Qing was like a fangirl, eager to know everything about Dongfang. From his age, family background, company, to products. She learned it all. In the end, she successfully added Dongfang on WeChat. Of course, Dongfang also found out that she was here for her studies and was the same age as him. Her favorite anime was One Piece, and her favorite color was Princess Pink. Even after Zhao Qing drove away, Dongfang was still conflicted. What a mess. Pink is pink. What is Princess Pink? One had to admire the service in that country, after hearing that Dongfang and the others were there for the World Artificial Intelligence Conference. The staff were all smiles, completing their tasks with great enthusiasm before escorting them to their rooms. Dongfang felt a bit of neck pain just watching. However, it had to be said that this hotel was impressive. It was the headquarters of a major financial group in that country, located in Tokyo's top business district. Right next to the Mitsukoshi department store, the hotel was on the 38th floor of the building. From there, one could see Mount Fuji to the west and the Tokyo Skytree to the east. On a clear day, both landmarks were visible at a glance. After placing his carry-on bag, the first-generation assistive mech, and checking his gear, Dongfang quickly freshened up. He then headed to the only Michelin-starred Chinese restaurant in the building with Wang Tao and others, since it was said that the chef here was a compatriot from Hong Kong. What is this? So sweet. Not tasty at all, Dongfang remarked, as he didn't like Cantonese cuisine. He preferred the flavors of the north, which were saltier and oilier, as that was where the real taste was. So delicious, truly great Chinese food. What I had in the flag country was trash. These heartless merchants only care about making money. A voice of praise came, fluent in the flag country's language. Dongfang was attracted by the exclamation from a handsome young man with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was amused by the guy, who was awkwardly trying to pick up sweet and sour pork with chopsticks. Is it really that good? So sweet, just a couple of bites and it's sickening. Perhaps being in a foreign land and surrounded by subordinates, the bionic robot had little to chat about. Meeting such a cheerful person, he wanted to have a word or two. It's really delicious, sir. Don't you like it? I see you haven't eaten much. This young man is quite talkative, going on and on about the taste of the dish. Would you like to try some? He enthusiastically invited me to join. No. Are you here for tourism? No. I'm here for an artificial intelligence conference. What about you? Grace hadn't heard standard English in days. The pronunciation of the locals was something else entirely. So he asked a couple more questions. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Dongfang, also here for the conference. I'm Grace. See you at the conference. Dongfang noticed Wang Tao and the others finishing their meal and got up to leave. In the palace of a certain country, two old men were huddled in an office. Your Excellency, the fish is in the net. Should we catch it off guard tonight? One of them shook his head. The fish is too alert now. It could lead to an accident. Let's wait until it relaxes its guard, and then we'll catch it all at once. Remember, we need it alive. You guys have fun. I'm going to watch a baseball game. Don't say that the battery of this fancy phone isn't impressive. Why can't it be installed in those subpar devices? That's not possible. The company doesn't sell them. Come on, you all said that the company poses a threat to national security. That's why I signed. Chapter 86. The Taste of Barbecue. Thanks to Qingjing Daoist, Meng Meng Mama 0718, Phantom F, the Global Artificial Intelligence Conference lasts for 3 days. Dongfang is scheduled to speak twice. Once at the opening ceremony and once at the closing ceremony. Although he felt some resistance to being in the public eye, he endured it for his parents' safety. It was also an opportunity to tell his parents about his graduation and starting a business. At the opening ceremony on the first day, an elderly local man reportedly gave a grand introduction for Dongfang. Hello everyone, I am Dongfang, the chairman of a certain company and the developer of the well-known assistant software. The venue erupted with thunderous applause. Not a single AI worker was unaware of the assistant. They were excited to meet a living legend, giving him a warm welcome. I'm very happy to meet everyone here, and I thank the organizers for the invitation. Although Dongfang didn't say much, it was enough to demonstrate the high standards of the conference. The organizer's face turned red with excitement, constantly nodding and shouting thanks. Hey, Mr. Dongfang, do you remember me? A handsome blonde young man popped his head out from the crowd. It was Grace, the same person he met during the meal. Grace, is there something you need? That's great, respected Mr. Dongfang. I have many questions to ask you. I didn't expect you to be the developer of the assistant. I'm your fan, a loyal fan. Seeing that he was recognized, he immediately squeezed to the front of Dongfang. His fervent demeanor was almost as if he were ready to kneel and sing praises. Hey, don't go. Let's chat for a bit. Mr. Dongfang, can I ask you a few questions? Grace was determined, having learned Dongfang's room number, 3802. Spending 10 hours a day squatting at the entrance of the East, as soon as the East stepped out, he would immediately approach. Well, the East really couldn't stand it anymore and decided to give him a chance. It turned out that Grace was a graduate student at a certain prestigious engineering institute, primarily studying artificial intelligence. At his strong request, He came to the conference with his mentor because he was captivated by the assistant since his first use of it. After trying all means to crack it without success, he became a fervent fan of the East, with the biggest wish of meeting the developer of the intelligent assistant. That's why he was so enthusiastic that day. However, Grace's foundation was quite solid, especially in intelligent algorithms, and he was certainly not inferior to so-called professors. Moreover, his divergent thinking was quite high, and many of his ideas left the East pleasantly surprised. The two of them became friends. On the third day, the East concluded his speech amidst warm applause, and the Artificial Intelligence Conference came to a successful close. At 10 p.m. that night, the East returned to his room, feeling a bit perplexed. He had been closely observing those around him for the past few days without noticing anything unusual, aside from Zhao Qing's repeated invitations to go out. Nothing particularly noteworthy happened. Could it be that his earlier speculation was wrong? Doubts began to creep in regarding his own predictions. Just as he was carefully recalling the people and events he had experienced, there was a knock at the door. Hey, hurry up and open the door. We're going to the party tonight. There are so many ladies. Grace's voice came from the entrance. Reluctantly, he opened the door. You go ahead. I don't like these occasions. Come on, many people want to meet you, including my mentor. Unable to resist Grace's persistent persuasion, the East got dressed and grabbed his bag, preparing to head out. Why are you bringing a bag to the party? Don't ask so much, just lead the way. As the two large doors were pushed open by the staff, a lively crowd greeted them. Men and women in dazzling formal were mingled in the crowd, occasionally clinking glasses and laughing heartily. As soon as the East walked in, he immediately became the center of attention. Even though he was dressed in a sports outfit and carrying a bag, the crowd surged and people gathered around. Hello, Mr. East. The noisy voices made it impossible to discern who was greeting him. After collecting hundreds of business cards and receiving countless cheek kisses from open foreign women, the two finally squeezed to a long table filled with food. East, I've been waiting for you. Zhao Qing's voice came through. What are you doing here? Why can't I be here? I was invited. She wrinkled her nose and walked over while lifting her dress. Finally caught you. You didn't come out despite multiple invitations. Wasn't I busy with the conference? Excuse. As soon as the East entered the banquet hall, over 50 fully armed individuals dressed in black, with only their eyes visible, immediately dispersed from underground. They rushed towards the perimeter of the banquet hall from various directions. Number 1. The Cheetah team has arrived at the building's power distribution center. Number 1. The Black Hawk team has arrived at the elevator control center. Number 1. The security system of the building has been disabled. Number 1. Has reached the designated position outside the banquet hall. 1 minute until power supply cutoff. Countdown starts. 3, 2, 1. Begin action. Maintain radio silence. Waiting for commands from the man referred to as Number 1. Dongfang is bickering with Zhao Qing while stuffing sushi into his mouth. Suddenly, the banquet hall is plunged into darkness. What happened? Is there a power outage? Someone in the crowd shouts loudly. Captain, someone has cut the power. I knew these kids were up to something. They were just waiting for me to let my guard down. Dongfang puts down the food in his hand and picks up the bag on the table. Suddenly, a soft body lunges at him, gripping his clothes tightly. Oh, I'm scared of the dark. It's Zhao Qing. Then the main door opens, glass shatters, and countless tear gas canisters are thrown inside. We are looking for a Mr. Dongfang. Others, please exit through the main door and do not call the police. This area has been sealed off. If anyone does not cooperate, a voice, belonging to Number 1, echoes. No need to hide. Here they come. All right, take those two away. Dongfang turns to the bionic robot and says, what will you do? Immediately, the two are dragged away. He presses the activation button on his bag, and the first-generation mech wraps around Dongfang like flowing metal. The jet boosters on his feet light up, and he shoots out like an arrow from the bow. The black-clad men at the entrance hear the whistling sound, look up, and see two blinding green lights through their night vision goggles. Just as one shouts danger, he is smashed to the ground, crushed under shattered marble. Number 3 witnesses this scene. Fire. This person dressed like iron is not someone they can engage in hand-to-hand combat. Countless bullets rain down. Due to the concentrated fire, the occasional sound of the mech being hit can be heard. Shit, he's accelerating, can't lock on. A huge howling sound reverberates in the banquet hall, circling around before stopping at the entrance. Dongfang looks down and sees that the so-called elites, who were well-dressed moments ago, are all lying on the ground, not making a sound. The only sounds are the hissing of meat being sliced by high-frequency pulse daggers and a familiar smell. It smells like barbecue. Oh, and there are some sounds of water. Did someone wet themselves? Along with the distant sound of police sirens. Captain, Number 1 is currently in the main control room of the building. Their radio has long been locked, and there has been no information leaked from the banquet hall. Good. Let me meet this Number 1. Chapter 87. Demolition Team enters. Thanks to Phantom F, Shadow, Young Man, and Dream, striving for immortality, Dongfang activates the visual invisibility system. moving like a ghost to the stairway leading to the main control room. There stand two men in black. What a waste of talent. Is one businessman worth us sending so many people? I heard the previous two plans failed, so this time they sent us. Umph, do they even deserve it? Dongfeng stepped forward, grabbing the heads of two individuals and smashing them together. With a loud bang, both fell to the ground, resembling two rotten watermelons. Red and white juices splattering everywhere. Fortunately, there was an energy shield. Otherwise, it would have been quite disgusting. He passed by the two and pushed open the door. It was me. I just need to use the restroom. The voice was identical to that of the guard at the entrance. The guard standing by the control room no longer paid attention. Dongfeng pretended